and they pulled into a Holiday gas station to like get snacks or something. And then they hopped out because they had tailed them for a few miles. They hopped out, got in the Cybertruck and drove away. We get a weird phone call that's like, hey, do you know where the car is? We're like, yeah. Like, you have it? No, I let my fiance take it. Oh, okay. Look at the tracker. It looks like it's sitting in St. Paul, but it hasn't moved for a while and we don't know why. Then the police show up and they're like, hey, is this your car?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Minnoxide podcast. I'm your host, Harris, aka Minnoxide, man of many automotive aspirations, and I'm here in the middle of nowhere with my Ford-loving co-host, Dan.
We're not in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of nice area.
This is where I live. It's not the middle of nowhere.
I like this area. Come on now.
I told Dan, I'm like, hey, can you pick up an energy drink? He's like, I don't think they have a gas station in this city. So that covers that. My Ford-loving co-host.
Yeah.
And today we are here. You're a repeat guest finally.
Yeah.
It's been a long time in the making.
I've been trying to come back, but you won't let me.
What was it? You were episode 54, I think. I think you're right after Eric Bloomy. Phrasing. And yeah, it's been a year and a half, man. You've had a lot of fun stories. You told me a lot of stories at the time that you could not tell me for like, what was it, legal reasons or insurance reasons or something like that?
Probably insurance, yeah.
Yeah. But to introduce you a little bit better, are you not like an owner of Drivify or a partial owner? How's that work?
So there's 5 of us who own it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. And then I'm one of those 5.
Gotcha. And then obviously the founder of Golden Peaks Productions, doing all the crazy Crown Rally, all the rally stuff, all the footage and filming, banging gears and all that, which we will maybe touch on. But why don't you go ahead and just kind of reintroduce yourself to everybody, and we'll just kind of go into all the fun stuff that you've been up to in the last year and a half.
All right. Well, I'm Jacob. You know that, for those of you who don't.
Oh, you looked at the camera.
I did.
So
I broke
You looked at the camera after we started.
So I mean, it all started for me, really honestly, in the ski world. That's how I got into cameras, and then I went to college for cameras, and I got into cars, and so Golden Peaks was born. We travel a lot for Golden Peaks, and so I'd always go to Turo and rent something more fun than what Enterprise had, and then that's how Drivify was born, because we were like, hey, why can't we try that?
Right.
And so between those two, it's what we do full time, I guess. Golden Peaks is the career. Drivify has kind of been this hobby that isn't paying me yet, but get a lot of benefits in other ways, and building a team around that, so hopefully that becomes self-sustaining one day.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have come a long way. You said you're up to like, what, 33 cars?
I think we have 33 cars.
33?
Yeah.
How did that first start? Did you guys like have a personal vehicle? You're like, okay, I'm just going to rent this out? Like you had something fun?
We were on a trip in South Carolina making content for the Super Performance guys. They're the ones that like could build the continuation bins of like the GT40s and the Cobras and stuff
I'm
like
very
that.
familiar with who they are.
Yeah. So Dan Long, who owns Downforce Performance, is like the top dealer of Super Performance. Anyways, we rented an M4 from Turo, and I've always like joked, I'm like, hey, like anybody can put a car on Turo. Why don't we like put a car on Turo, right? I didn't do this because that's like my baby, even though it's old and I beat on it.
Yeah.
But I remember we were in that car, me and Grant, who's one of the owners, and then Grant also works for me with Ben at Golden Peaks. So there's a lot of blurred lines. Called them and I said, hey, we should put a car on Turo and like see what happens. And so then Triet and Tien, who own Tint Pros, it's the 5 of us who own it. And so between Triet, Tien, myself, Ben, and Grant, we brought the Silverado, a Tesla Model 3, an Audi A3, and the Porsche GT3.
Yep.
Just listed them on Turo. Filed an LLC, so like we could do everything correctly. And then the Silverado got booked and it started making some money. So then we took the profits from basically the loans. We just had the company pay for them, and then the profit on the loan we'd use to like go get a payment within that profit and just start multiplying. So the Ford Bronco was our next buy, and it just snowballed. In some ways, maybe snowballed a little too fast, but
you did mention that kind of in the last episode, because like you guys were up to like something 30 cars at one point, and did you scale back for a period, or?
Well, we had a few crash and disappear. Another way that we operate too is we don't own all 33 cars that we have.
Right.
We have what are called co-hosts. So like other owners can bring a car to the fleet. They can sit here, live with us. We manage, we do everything. Owner does nothing, but they do get majority of the split.
Yep.
And then that was a really easy way for us to scale quickly. And then some of the cars that we owned and had financing on, like the Bronco, it burned down on a renter. So like we just kind of like let that dissipate and didn't buy something else to replace it. And we've had, it's interesting to look because I have a Google Drive folder of like all the pictures we've done listing photos for cars of. And it's like, oh, I kind of forgot about those cars, because they'll come in, maybe the co-host is having a good time but wants to sell it or do something else, or honestly, people get kind of sick of renting cars because it's a little abusive. Just to see the rotation that we have. So we kind of went up we were at 20 cars by the end of like year 2. We're starting year 3 now. Or sorry, we're starting year 4. We just finished
been a while
year
now.
3. Yeah.
You guys haven't failed yet.
No, I didn't say we've come close. But it's just a learning curve, right? Like when somebody totals your car.
Like, what do you do?
Right. Like, obviously the bank's going to want their money. So where does that come from?
Yeah.
And you learn that pretty quick.
What was the first totaled car in your fleet?
I think it was the GR86 that got 1 million views and you bought me breakfast for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think that
the drunk driver that ran away and said his dog died.
Yeah, tried to say his dog died, so he flew home, but his car was found in the field, and then the police got involved. And you
know what my number one comment for that is, by the way? It's like
it's my mustache,
or
it's people ripping on me for saying the GR86 is slow.
They're all saying, well, the GR86 is slow. That mustache looks fake. But the number one I kept seeing is you can't call someone and then hang up after you connect them to somebody else or whatever.
Valid.
Yeah, whatever. It might have just been like one of those like the way you said it sort of things.
I think it was more the way I said it because everything that we do is recorded phone calls.
Yeah.
For like obvious reasons.
Oh, you have to give me that recorded phone call and then we can prove them wrong.
Yeah. Be like, hey, listen here. Like,
see, here's the dialogue with the police. Yeah.
No, yeah. And I watched it back and I was like, that didn't really sound right when I listened to your podcast and I came back. But no, it was like, all right, like I got to trap this guy to admit to it. And basically the police were on the phone. And so once the story was set straight, I was like, okay, great. Now my hands are clean because all I'm trying to prove is that I wasn't in the car or my company wasn't in the car, which then alleviates our liability.
Right. Well, exactly. Right. And there was just so many people just trying to be like, oh, just poke holes into it. Like, oh, you should.
Yeah.
Or
there
like,
always is.
Or calling you the scumbag for snitching on the guy. It's like, he totaled my car.
Right. Like I wish I was really rich and generous, and like if you crash one of our cars, like I'll pay for it, sure.
Oh, can you imagine how many rentals you'd have if that was the case?
I am not that guy.
Can we backpedal to this?
You don't go into
thing?
Walmart and be like, if you steal a box of donuts from Walmart, of course the Walmart attendant's gonna snitch on you.
Right.
Yeah. Same thing.
I don't know. I think it's pretty easy to just walk off with shit these days, and nobody really does anything about it.
That is kind of true. We do have trackers in our cars, so if you do walk away with it, we'll just watch you.
Yeah. Do you have multiple trackers per car now as well, or just one? I'm just taking out all your details.
Yeah, you can take all the details. Everything is tracked, and it's the renters know if they read the rental agreement.
Yeah, fair enough.
I just removed the tracking device from that Navigator I bought from the guy who does the driving service. Yeah.
Well, and our trackers are not OBD2s. They're
this one was hidden in the engine compartment underneath a plastic panel.
Nice.
The truck was off, and I'm like, what is that beeping noise?
Yeah.
It was really weird. Yeah. So I found it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Did you want to ask a mustache question?
Get rid of it.
Well,
we'll pause for a second just because I think my renter's here. But then we have renters like this. There's 3 of them who have been in our cars, and they just keep switching cars. Yeah. And it's been months. What she's paying us weekly is like more than what a monthly payment would be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like $2,400.
I'm just amazed.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because they can't get like financing to buy shit sometimes? Like, why are they doing that?
I don't know. Because like we will rent they call them long-term rentals. We don't really advertise it because then typically people are searching for like, 50% off if I take a car for a month, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we know also there's people like this who will take the car for the month and pay full price anyways.
Yeah.
So like the Q3 is another one. I had to, so essentially what happened is that car was gone for 30 days. Today's the 30th day, so I had to see it today.
Yeah.
So she wasn't ready to give it up, and I kind of figured like she wasn't going to. Open the car, it smells like cigarettes, like ashes everywhere, like fast food, like they're not living in it, but like they've made it their car, and it's just
it kind of makes sense if you don't have to pay rent, then it kind of makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, and sometimes I get, cars are used for certain things that sometimes we can help the law a little bit, but like there's definitely a renter who specifically rents cars to do things so that their name's not attached to vehicles.
Yeah. Before we cut back in, by the way, you want to adjust this real quick?
The cigarette stuff, like you have like a no smoking policy, I assume?
Yes, nobody listens though.
Right. So what do you do in that instance? Do you put
bill them $150 and then ozone it for an hour?
Yeah, that's typically what it ends up being.
Is this? Is that better?
It was so perfect earlier.
I know. What do you gotta do?
I think it was like kind of like riding. I think it should be good. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I just want to move.
We'll make it work. Yeah. Just don't move. Yeah. Just don't do a big stretch.
Yeah. I mean, we like anything. I can't advertise like have fun in the cars and blah blah blah. I can't talk in a way that encourages people to drive hard and above the law. So everything is very like these are the rules, obey the laws, please don't smoke, please no pets. But it happens. So every time a car leaves, we've got a whole check-in process. There's like 80 pictures for every car. So like, it's pretty easy to be like, hey, look, this is how we gave it to you. This is what it smells like. Here's some ash. So like, you smoked in it. We are going to run your card. And privately, this kind of renter is paying on like those prepaid cards. So it makes it a little difficult to like start charging.
Dude, so much sketchy shit. Like,
but this kind of renter is also like super communicative, because I think that they're used to like this lifestyle of like, trying to get
scrutiny.
Like just figuring it out and getting it done. So we're really understanding, and we like, she loves us. I don't like what the car looks like, but like, like we try to take care of them,
It's weird. Like have you ever seen those like, is it Anderson or whatever, those like rental places where you rent like couches, TVs, furniture, end tables, like that. That also boggles my mind. Like who is like just furnishing a house rental wise?
Right.
It's very weird.
I've seen them like in the high end world. They'll be like,
for like I want to stage a house.
Or like $1 million listing, like where somebody,
But outside of that, I don't know. I go to Marketplace and buy a couch.
Or just roll into Goodwill or fucking Salvation Army.
But so anyways. We get a nice look at a little bit of the headaches we deal with.
So where did we leave off before we kind of cut out? You were going to ask about the mustache. Was there actually a mustache question?
You said people say that mustache is fake, and I was like, is that really a thing? Like people get fake mustaches? I'm picturing like, those glasses with the fake nose and the mustache thing you can wear to like, that's what I was picturing is the only reason for, or only fake mustache out there. I didn't know if there was really like a toupee market for mustaches.
Oh, there 100% is.
Is there?
You got stuff to fill in, bro. You got to do it sometimes. That's why like before this episode, I went over there and yanked on it a little bit.
To make sure it was real.
We can let the viewers know that we each ran our fingers through it. It is legit.
That's right.
Mustache.
I need to create a second like highlight channel for all the non-car related topics.
The offlandish shit.
The offlandish shit. Yeah, like
just the facial hair.
Just the facial. Yeah, like people, like when they would see another guy that did the whole mustache thing. So we had Caleb, one of our hosts for No Too Necessary, or guest. He's not a host. Let's not give him that credit. But anyways, people are like, oh yeah, this guy gives mustache rides to people. Like that's such a common comment. But anyways, okay, you mentioned headaches, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to kind of go over like what's happened since the last time you were on?
Since the last time we were on?
So a year and a half.
Ooh.
Like how wild does it get and how often?
It gets pretty wild and it comes in waves. Not as often as you would think. And I think I said that on the first episode. Yeah. Like I am pleasantly surprised.
Like during full moon, things get a little weirder.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pleasantly surprised how, I guess, respectful people are of rental cars. Mm-hmm. There's definitely not. There's the other end to that, right?
What's the ratio of respectful to not respectful?
Oh man, I would say like 80% of our renters, like no problem.
Okay.
They always pay, they show up, they return. They don't ask many questions because they understand what they're doing, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the other 20% is like, I need to extend, or I'm not going to be there for another 3 hours, and then they don't understand that we have to bill them, or they just keep extending, and then they complain. Because like she came up from, she was in Chicago the last 3 weeks.
We heard
the car. Yeah. She was in Chicago for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And so I was a little concerned about like, she's probably not going to come up here just for like me to do a 15-minute put eyes on the car kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then I guess she got a new job in Minnesota, but she's waiting for paychecks or whatever. So I don't know.
So you have a lot of those like unique scenarios.
Yeah. And we try to adapt, and there does become this threshold of like, it's a lot of manpower to like be managing this, like micromanage. Have you paid? Is the car okay? Are you coming back soon? All this stuff.
You can't do this as a single guy, like by yourself. Would it be pretty hard if it was just you in this operation?
Yeah, it would be hard.
Okay.
So Travis, so there's the 5 owners. Yep. And then there's Travis. Mm-hmm. He did one of your rallies in the RS.
Yeah.
And he's good friends with the slow boy Subi dude.
Yeah, Austin.
He runs Drive-Fi for us. Mm-hmm. So we have 2. He's one of our full-time guys.
Okay.
And so he usually has the Drive-Fi phone. He's usually doing all this. He got married 2 weekends ago. So he's on his honeymoon.
So that's why
I'm stepping up a little bit. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But I definitely hear the stories. I'm not as involved anymore.
Okay.
As I was when we first started, but I would say maybe the wildest thing since the GR actually. The GR was like wild, but it was I guess more of like a sob story from the dude. Yeah. We had this renter who was, we got a Jeep SRT, probably mistake number one.
If you're a young enthusiast learning to wrench or an experienced shop owner already running sevens at the drag strip, the High Performance Academy is a resource where all horsepower junkies can go to expand their skill set. Whether you are learning how to build an engine, tune your ECU, or dial in your suspension setup for some weekend autocross, the HP Academy has the perfect step-by-step course for you. They've provided the listeners of the show with a special 55% off discount code that you can use risk-free on any course of your choosing. Use code MINNOX, MINNOX, to get 55% off, or click the link in the show description to choose a course of your liking. Go check it out. Let's get back to the show.
First rent, maybe second rent. Gets rented, by just a girl, checks out, like all is good, whatever. And we get a weird phone call that's like, hey, do you know where the car is? We're like, yeah. Like, you have it? No, I let my fiance take it. Oh, okay. So we're trying to track down, like, look at the tracker. It looks like it's sitting in St. Paul, but it hasn't moved for a while and we don't know why. And then the police show up and they're like, hey, is this your car? They're like, yep. It's crashed and it was like rolled over. It was down by like, not Raspberry Island, but up Dog Road or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
The dude, I guess, was doing something and then not like running from the police in a high police chase, but kind of like getting away. Ended up crashing the car, rolling it over, arrested. And the police were telling us, yeah, there's a girl with him. So we figured like, oh my gosh, like the fiance let her fiance drive it and now they're going to jail or whatever.
Let her fiance drive it?
Yeah, so the girl who rented it let her fiance drive it. Yep. And then, we call the girlfriend back or the fiance back and she's like, no, I'm not in jail. And we're like, uh-oh, that's not good. And so he had got arrested for drinking and driving and flipped the SRT over with a different woman. And then we had to kind of like, without telling her, like you should probably talk to the police.
He got her to pay for the nice ride for him to go take another side chick out.
Something like that, right? And I don't know like all the details, but you start to put together stuff like that. You would be surprised how often we do see that, where like a female will rent.
Like cheating, you mean?
No, but like not sexist at all. My wife is an amazing driver and she'll drive these cars and she'll drive them hard. But a lot of times when somebody, a female does try to like request the GTR, it's like, that's so awesome. And so we try to like answer questions and talk like car people talk and they don't really understand. And it will come out that like they're booking it because their boyfriend, husband, whatever, doesn't have a license, doesn't have insurance, doesn't have whatever.
Okay.
And that happens a lot. And so we've weeded out quite a bit of that. You kind of start to catch on.
Well, you also have instances like Marty and Amanda, right? Where like Amanda will rent it for a birthday.
And we love Marty and Amanda. And so when Amanda actually texted us the other week. And so they're going to do a cruise in the F-Type. But like you could tell really quick, right? When you're talking to kind of people who kind of know what they're doing versus maybe they're trying to come up with what they know what they're doing, but they're telling this story to like, so we don't ask questions, but that's when we ask questions because we catch on to stories.
So to go back to this Jeep thing then, so how did that whole thing play out?
So he got arrested, the car was totaled.
Okay. How messed up was the car?
I used to have pictures of it. It was upside down.
Okay.
Before that, there was like the tail light was missing and there was a big dent across the rear quarter and like where the rear quarter and the tailgate meet. It looked like someone had took a bat to it, like that kind of weird damage. So like, that wouldn't have happened in a rollover. But I mean, insurance paid for it.
Maybe he was scurrying from an angry Minnesota Twins player.
Something like that. Yeah. So insurance got involved. It was a little bit of a unique case because the insurance, when we rented to, and I forget her name, but that's probably okay, to her, but somebody else crashed it, her insurance doesn't want to pay. Right. Pretty common scenario. But like if I rent you the car and then you let him drive and something happens when he drives it, like it's your fault. Right. Because you're the one that took the liability. Yeah. And so there's, I think it was a 4 or 6 month insurance claim that
so what do those conversations look like back and forth?
It's a lot of insurance we call and make the claim like, okay, sounds good, is everybody okay, blah, blah, typical stuff. And then we don't hear much for a while. And then usually they try to not pay or try to find a reason to not pay. But because like we've got payments and credit cards that all have names that match driver's license and insurances, and then rental agreements that like state everything very well, and then recorded phone calls to like verify all this stuff. Eventually you kind of trap them, but they take a long time to respond. And so
they try to break you spiritually. Seriously. Yeah, the longer you take, like what was Wheeler saying? 2 months at one point?
My F-150 that got totaled in, that took almost 2 years to get finally all done. And a lot of it was a multi-car accident. I got hit first and then pushed in all these other cars.
Yep.
And the insurance company kept telling me, well, they have a limit on what they can pay out.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, but first of all, I was hit first.
Yep.
And then pushed into all these other cars.
Yep.
So like, let's go down that line.
Yeah.
You know, like my car got double smashed.
Yeah.
So let's start there.
Yep.
You Ford guys are always in between something.
Yeah, and that's like insurance. There's so many nuances.
Yeah.
So like as a rental agency, we get paid out of comp and collision, but the property damage aspect of it.
Okay.
So like when I call your agent and say, hey, I need to know, obviously does Harris have insurance or is he lying? Yes, he has it. Okay, great. What are his limits? You know, we'd like to see 100, 300, 100. That last number, property damage, $100,000. In the state of Minnesota, that's what we, as like the additional interest, get paid out of.
Okay.
So if you're in a car, $100,000 or less, I'll get at least $100,000, right? But that does get a little weird because like if you're in a car for $99,000 and then I get paid $99,000, but there's also like a bunch of other damages.
Okay.
Then we start to hit this other threshold, and then that's where like, you know, bodily injury and stuff like that comes into play. But your policy will max out eventually at some point. So we like to try to rent with a little bit of a buffer because you never actually know. Thankfully, we've never had a serious accident.
I was gonna say, have you had any bodily injury?
No, thankfully. At least not that I know of. I'm sure it hurt to like flip the GR over, or I'm sure it hurt to like flip the Jeep over, but never anything that like tries to point back at us.
Okay.
Because like all of our cars, we do everything to eliminate as much liability as we can. There's always going to be risk and there's always going to be liability and there will be a lawsuit. But like if somebody gets hurt in our car, it just can't be our fault.
Right.
So like Euro charged and certified techs service all the cars. Like I don't do oil changes. I don't change the tires.
Yep.
It's all receipts. It's all like, so I can
as
back
legit as
up.
possible.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not you just working on the brakes and all of a sudden they don't work. Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes like you want to because it's like
cheaper.
Like our Audi A3 in Boston. And I'm sure the dealership that Derek took it to was maybe more expensive than other places, but they want like $1,600 to do a wheel bearing. Like I'll go buy the $50 part and put it in.
Right.
But like then you weigh, if I put it in wrong and the wheel falls off and then they take out a bus full of kids,
right? Like
$1,600 is way cheaper.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So okay, so you guys do a lot of like exotic stuff too, right? Because like, what do you? You guys have the V8 R8, which is technically exotic.
It's exotic looking.
Exotic looking.
R8, sorry.
Yeah, so you got the R8, the GTR. Do you guys still have the Huracan or no?
No, the Huracan is gone.
So
that was
the Porsche as well.
Yeah, the GT3 is still here. It's a new color.
Yeah,
it's
the
at
purple.
Epic Rats. How did you know that already?
I know it's my job to know everything.
Okay. Yeah, it's at Epic Raps.
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
So okay, so you have all these exotic cars. Is there any money to be made in renting those out, or
we make more money on exotics than we do these cars?
Really?
Yes, it's just riskier.
Interesting.
And I should say that with a preface of if you get lucky on maintenance, right?
Okay.
So our GTR, we've made a lot of money on the GTR, but we spent a lot of money to keep it alive. So the first trans, we bought it at 18,000 miles and the Turo clutch packs failed at like 30.
Okay.
We put stock clutch packs in, it failed at like 50. And we put maybe a little more mileage than that, but we just put in, I don't remember, full blown solid stage, whatever, billet, something.
Okay.
I'm a BMW guy, so I don't know all these things about Nissans.
But you speak in stages, so you know that part.
So it's stage something, right? Like this is stage, no, it's not actually, but. And then we did a bell housing upgrade.
So you're not getting rich off of any individual car, but it's
a compounding effect.
Quantity, yeah.
Yeah, okay. and it's as weird as it sounds, it's riskier to like either try to finance more cars or buy more cars because then your exposure risk of like damage and maintenance is greater. But the more you have in motion, when one like just is dead and it needs a lot of work or it's broken for a long time, that doesn't affect like our income as much. Right. So like over here, you pass the GM dealership.
Yep.
That's our Hummer sitting there. It's been sitting there since November.
Okay.
And it's waiting on one bolt.
Really?
From GM for this insurance. Because he hit like one of the barriers in Minneapolis and ripped the back wheel off.
Okay.
So like it needs I don't even know what it needs, but it's like 20 grand worth of just repair costs.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there rotting away.
Yeah. And so like insurance is involved, and this is where we get to play the game of loss of use and diminished value.
Yeah.
So it's a clean title truck. It wasn't a total loss. It's a business vehicle. We got paid, like insurance will always pay as little as possible. So we got paid some to order all of our parts and get the repair fixing. Once the parts arrive, we get it fixed, we pay that bill, we file supplements. So like if I got paid 8 grand, but it cost 20 grand, I'm gonna file 12 grand of supplements. Yeah. Insurance will write us a check for that as a reimbursement. But then once that's settled, I get to call insurance back, or Travis does, and say, hey, you remember like this business vehicle that your renter causes damage to, and now it's sat, and because it makes me money at this rate every day, and it's sat for 4 months, I want that rate for every day it's sat because of your negligence, or whatever the fancy term is. Typically, they're not going to just be like, okay, here's a check, but then it becomes this negotiation piece where there's a third-party company. It costs us like $500. You get an assessment on the vehicle. Now that there's an accident on the Carfax, it's worth X amount less.
Okay.
It's complete, unbiased, whatever. You bring that as proof, and then you bring your rental agreement for what the renter rented it at, and then for all the days that are missing rental revenue because it was broken because of this person, and you start to negotiate.
Okay.
And that's where you really make money.
Okay.
Because now, if you look at it, because I get paid 100% for the actual repair costs.
Okay.
And then the argument is that because it was broken, I've lost X.
Yeah.
If it wasn't broken, I would have made this.
Yeah.
And so then usually they're not going to pay 100%, but you can play there. And the benefit is...
Well, they can't prove that it was going to be rented or not rented. So yeah, you could have had somebody come in and rent it for 3 months.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have had a couple interesting conversations where they want to like randomly check other reservations to like see how active a car would have been in that time period.
Okay.
And sometimes it works to our benefit really well. We've got another renter who's awesome who comes into town and will take the seat for like 3 weeks.
Okay.
Right. So like same or similar cost per day of like the status of vehicle where insurance believes nobody would actually rent this 100% of the month. Like, well, you might actually be surprised. And so why that's a good thing when a car does get crashed but not totaled is because there's been 0 miles put on, there's been 0 depreciation.
Oh.
Right. I've been making this payment, there's been no utilization, but I still got paid as if it were. And then you just send it back out.
People hit a light pole, just not total it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Tim just went through this with his dark horse. So then you said you had the diminished value claim too, because now it's technically not worth as much as it was.
Correct. And insurance, that's what they protect, right?
Yeah.
Like the investment. So if the Hummer was 120 grand brand new, I know they're not worth that now, but because of the accident, it's now worth 15 grand less forever. Like I want 15 grand. Right. Some insurances will write you that check because they want to be done and out with the claim and stuff like that. But I forget, I think it's USAA or another insurance won't write you that check until you sell the vehicle, which is an interesting, like, I think they're kind of catching on to this. Not that we're playing a game that's wrong, but I think they're trying to learn ways that they can get around it.
Ways that they can save money too.
Because from their point of view, I technically haven't lost on that vehicle, the diminished value, until I've sold it for less. Right?
Yep. Okay, that makes sense.
But then you can play a whole bunch of games. Like the company could sell it to me.
Right.
And I'll just put it back in the fleet.
Yep. Yeah.
Are
you able to put rent out, like, for example, like salvage or cars that have accidents or anything like that, or not really?
Yes, you can. And this is, I guess, where like morally, what are you comfortable with on a risk assessment?
Okay.
Like I wouldn't go get a really, really, really crappy salvage title and be like, this thing drives crooked, I'm going to rent it.
Yeah.
But like if it was repaired really well and like maybe it goes to AJ's shop and it's like, dude, this thing's pristine,
passes like inspection,
right? Hail damage, whatever.
Yeah.
Then yes, I can do it. Turo would be the restrictor. They don't take cars older than 12 years, more than 130,000 miles, or salvage title.
Does Turo, so obviously in the last 2 or 3, like just before 2020 and probably during 2020, there was like this whole like gold rush of like people getting into Turo.
Yeah.
Has that all kind of died?
Yeah. Yeah, Turo's made massive changes.
Okay.
And we even got into it too late because I think we launched January 2022. And it was still great. Like our Silverado that year was killing it. The Silverado doesn't do much anymore.
Oh, really?
And so like it's paid off and it sits there for us. And so we actually use it a lot. Like if I have to trailer the camera car or something, I'll rent it from myself and charge the client and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I would say Turo did this really fast because for a while, Turo wasn't that great of a place to like get a nice car. It was all the people who saw the market of like $5,000 Elantras and they do like 15 grand a year. And so they would just buy like 30 of them, right? And then Turo kind of started getting this rep of like, it's nice, but the standard that hosts were kept to keep their cars in a feeling good, I guess, versus really old and crappy, which is what they were, rose a lot. So a lot of those hosts kind of jumped out because it wasn't easy money anymore. And it became much more, there's a lot of like standards that we have to abide by. And we get rated like very a lot. That's a terrible way to say it. But like ratings on Turo are very important for the algorithm for your car to get like suggested in people's search terms.
Yep.
So like if you check out on Turo nowadays, it's like, don't just leave a review. It's like, how clean was it? 1 out of 5 stars. How did it make any noises, any warning lights, any whatever? And all of those things, even though they don't list in the review, is like this BMW M3 had rod knock and it was dirty and like out of gas.
Yep.
It was like on the Turo side of the system will just lessen the car in the search terms.
Yeah.
And then you start to feel that because it will get booked less.
Right. Okay.
I read through the reviews all the time when I'm doing on Turo, just to see like how the host is. You never know. Like, is the guy an asshole? Like, yeah.
And what they've done to hosts now too, and a lot of the hosts, I don't really care because I see what Turo's trying to do, and they're trying to weed out the people making easy money. Easy money's nice, but like sometimes easy money isn't like the thing that is being transacted isn't very quality. So like I get from Turo's perspective what they're trying to do. But as a host, we have metrics that we have to get hit. Otherwise they'll turn off our account. Like they won't even say anything. You could just disappear. And it's like, I can't cancel more than 3% trips in a month. Oh. So like if I have, what would that be? 100 trips. If I canceled 3 trips with no warning, they could just turn it off.
I guess something was wrong with the car.
Right, because they're looking for us as hosts to be reliable for these people.
Right.
Right, because they kind of have 2 consumer groups, Turo does. Because they make, on our protection plan, they make 15% of all the money that we make.
Right.
That's their cut. But then on the contrary, they want users to be booking with us because they make money on that side too.
Yeah.
Do you ever deny renters for their rating? Because I always try and keep mine pretty high.
So Turo in the last years, a lot of the changes that they've made is everything is auto book now. You used to be able to do request to book as a host. So like I could show all my cars available, but then you as the guest would have to like, I want to see if he'll let me rent it. And then click that button. And then I could say yes or no without getting dinged. It's all auto book now. Like I don't have that option. So if it's listed, anybody who has a Turo account has already been vetted by Turo in the background, and they could book it.
Interesting. Okay.
So I shouldn't have to worry about my rating anymore. I can book whatever the hell I want.
Pretty much. They might cancel on you, but then on the contrary, like on my end as the host, if I see you and your rating's really terrible and I just cancel for no reason, that hurts me. So like I'm going to feel inclined to not want to cancel.
Well, I've done stuff like I rented an Expedition in Colorado, and we rented an Airbnb, and I had a bunch of like alcohol left over. So like I had like White Claws and like bottles of liquor, and I was like, hey man, I sent him a picture. I was like, you want this? He's like, yeah, dude, leave it in the back of the truck. And like he took it home, and then later he sent me a picture of like him drinking one at his house.
Amazing.
I was like, that's cool. So
that's cool.
And then another time I rented a little Mercedes-Benz, like the little 2-seater convertible thing in Texas, because I wanted something fun and sporty. And I got on it on the highway, and it threw a check engine light and lost power. So I pulled over, I shut it off, turned it back on, and everything was cool. Still had the check engine light. So I messaged him. He's like, oh man, I'll just deal with it whenever you're ready. As long as, are you good? Are you good with everything running? I was like, yeah. But then I went to the next town. I swung into an O'Reilly's and just had them read the code. And I was like, hey, here's the codes. Yeah. As a car enthusiast, I didn't want to be driving around if it was like, oh, it went on because of low oil pressure or something. You know what I mean? Right. So I don't know. I'm probably one of those great renters that you want to have. Yeah.
And renters like you, we love. The GTR transmission every time it's failed now has been on a renter.
Oh, really?
Which, I mean, that makes sense. But they've all been super chill with us. It's usually a call and it's like, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but the GTR doesn't move. Okay, well, like, did you have any lights? What's going on? It's like, I don't know. It's throwing like a transmission, whatever. And so usually, as car guys, we're kind of aware of the issues that could happen, especially with like those exotics, like the
especially the GTR.
Especially the GTR. Yeah. And they're really nice. Usually, mechanical damage is not something that we can go after a renter for, because it's not fair for them to take the liability of how the car might act. right? Because you got to think about from their perspective, there's been 200 other people in the GTR. Who knows how they've driven and has that built up to the moment that it happened to fail on them?
Right.
Yeah,
now,
digs at every stoplight.
Right. If I do pull up the tracker and the trans blew up on this dude that like did 200 launch controls, like I'm going to go after you for
You're
that.
able to see that?
Right. I can see all
that's
that.
a problem.
Yeah, I can see
So you
speed.
said it's not ODB tracking, but you can see like that kind of stuff that's been done.
I can see speed. I can see routes. Drops a pin like every 20 seconds or something.
Okay.
And then hard acceleration and hard braking.
Okay.
So usually it's like the X3 lady that was coming today. She was supposed to come yesterday and the day before. I don't hold my breath because I can see where she's at all times. But you say, hey, where are you? Are you close?
Yeah.
So we have had some renters we will have to like send a nice message or get them on the phone call because like there's a level of liability that we take by knowing all that information. Then if we don't step in to like say, hey, don't do that, stop whatever, you're being dangerous.
Yeah, you have to,
in the event of like something really, really terrible that could be kind of turned back on us because like we didn't. Originally when we started this company,
about it,
originally when we started this company, we had no trackers.
Okay.
But then the Range Rover got stolen.
I think we were still in the middle of that story. Like you weren't able to tell the Range Rover story last episode, I think.
Oh, wasn't I?
I don't know if you were able to.
I don't know.
Yeah. What
So the
happened with
Range
that?
Rover booked on Turo, or was it a private rent? It's probably a private rent because Turo didn't do anything.
Oh wait,
So-
was this the fake license one?
Yeah, fake license. It got stolen. They became unresponsive. We couldn't find the car.
Okay.
It had been a long time. We sent the notarized letter. You have to wait 10 days, and then you can get the police involved and report a stolen
10 days is a
vehicle.
lot, man. Holy
Like
shit.
your car could be in Africa by then,
Yeah.
And so 41 days later, we got a call from an unknown number. It was the police. They found the Range Rover in Minneapolis that had broken windows and like a bent door. Went, picked it up, brought it to Land Rover. It sat there for a couple weeks because they had to get a new key because we didn't have keys. They had to fix a bunch of stuff. And now it's back. It left.
Well, it's back in circulation.
Yeah, it's on
That's
right
awesome.
now. Yeah,
I love how you mentioned Africa. Isn't that where they send Range Rovers to get chopped up?
I think so.
I think where did it? I think.
Or all the Huracans that are being stolen and going to Mexico
Okay.
or Georgia. I
Which
forget.
country was it in Africa? I think it was like I feel like I saw it on some TV show or something like that. Like there's like a designated like country there where everybody just takes
The Range Rover
Rovers.
chop shop.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder how
That's
the
funny.
tariff works when you're doing that, when you're shipping
Yeah.
over.
Oh, are stolen cars tariffed?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I don't
those are
know.
real questions.
Right, I don't know. I try to not let them get stolen. I prefer them here.
How do you keep your inventory fresh? Like, so now we're talking about a Range Rover that's back in circulation.
Yep.
You have a Silverado you still had. How do you decide what cars you're going to get rid of, what you're going to get in next? Whose job is like, who's somebody's like, hey, I was on Marketplace, right? This thing looks cool, or
Yeah,
how does
I
that
would
work?
say the answer to that is like collectively all of us, because we're all
Okay.
car guys, so we're always on Marketplace.
Yeah.
Like I found a TT in Hopkins
Okay.
for like 19 grand. It's a Gen 3 Audi TT coupe. And we have a Camry. It's just underperforming. It also is just at a price point that like it's a lot of headache. And so we're probably going to take that there and then trade in and refinance the TT. And then the TT could be used less but charged more. So then the way that we think about that is if the Camry's gone 100% of the time at $50 a day, if we can get the TT gone 50% of the time at $100 a day, it's a better bet. The car's probably going to be worth more at the end. There's less utilization, less miles, which means longer time in the fleet, blah, 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 blah.
Okay. How cheap is too cheap?
I don't know that there is too cheap.
Okay.
I would say my standard of car is much lower than my business partners. So
Okay.
Ben, who works with us or owns this with us, he's the guy that like keeps the cars clean. And like this X3 when it comes back is gonna need it clean. Like there's ash everywhere and some like weed stuff and like juice boxes and who knows. And so like Ben will take everything out of the car. He'll go as far as shampooing the carpets, but especially when it gets to that point with smoke.
Yeah,
We've
you have
got
to.
ozone machines, so they'll be down for like a week being ozoned and aired in this fancy fog machine. A lot of the times the cars don't really smell like anything because we'll put air fresheners in after we clean them, but then they get smoked in, so it gets really gross. And then we'll ozone, and then it just kind of smells like nothing or a little bit like chemicals. We're at an interesting point now where we haven't sold a car yet because it's too old. Cars have exited the fleet because maybe co-hosts are done, they get crashed. Or like this, right? We might just trade it in because it's underperforming. But like our Silverado's getting up there. It's at 110,000 miles.
Okay.
Still kind of cooking, still wrenching. It needs an alignment and some tires and brakes now.
Yeah.
The GTR we bought at 16,000 miles and it's got 72,000 miles now
Dude.
in 3 years. The R8 we bought at 18,000 miles and it's at 65,000 miles now. So like on the sports cars, our rough math problem is if we did a 5-year finance, the goal is to exit or pay off early if you can, but exit at or before 100,000 miles.
Okay.
And so if we did a finance versus a cash buy, can we have enough time on the odometer to last the 5 years finance to still exit? It's pretty easy to kind of find a price on a car at 100,000 miles.
Okay.
That's the way that I guess we've thought about it.
Mm-hmm. So you still got a little bit of life in that GT.
Yeah, our Suburban, AJ's Suburban, it's got 125,000 miles on it.
Okay.
And it's still cooking. Like it's in Florida right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't he send his C8 down there too?
C8's in Boston.
Oh, well, in Boston.
Okay, so he sent it to Florida first for winter, tried a different Turo host, which, I mean, I was in agreement that host, Alvin Cleanliness or whatever, he's managing like 300 cars in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And so like he does like, I don't know, 300 grand a month in rentals or something. But he's all co-host, so he doesn't own anything. He's just managing. He's got a team of Filipinos. Okay. Kind of like in the video world, you can hire editors, like customer service over there. So they're just doing all the messaging, and then he's got a team.
So it's even offshore that he's doing it.
It's crazy. And so it did fine in Florida, but it was through the winter, so like naturally still a little slow, even though it was a C8. The market, pretty much anywhere else in Minnesota, is also extremely saturated. Mm-hmm. Like we get $4.99 a day for our C8 in Minnesota. Okay. But like if we took it to Arizona or Florida, it'd be like $199 a day.
Yeah, like down in Texas, you could get a C8 for really cheap when we were down there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And specs don't matter. Like, I love our C8R and it's a numbered VIN and it's like whatever. Yeah. And it's a 3LT, like that's cool. Resale value maybe is justifiable, but after it's done being a rental and if we keep it to 100,000 miles, will it really be worth that much more than like a 1LT that we could have bought for 30 or 40 grand less? Yeah, at the beginning, right? And if it made the same money, then you're looking at like your barrier of entry just being that much less. Yeah. But those are like lessons that we've learned through starting this because the C8R was sick and we bought it at like 6,000 miles.
You still have that in the fleet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to take that.
It's on rent right now.
When it comes to co-hosts, how do you you turn people away? Like if I called you, I'd be like, hey man, you want my town car? Are you going to tell me to go pound sand or how does that work?
I wouldn't say it in a way that like makes you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, well, I understand you got to be like PG about it, right?
Right. Yeah. I would say I'll take anything. Like we've got a Toyota Camry, we've got this older BMW X1. Mm-hmm. What I want to see in a co-host car is something to perform. Because while like you bring me the car, if you have a payment or you bought it, you still have to carry insurance. Like there's money that's coming out of your pocket, let's say every month to own the car. Mm-hmm. You probably want it to rent. I don't want to take something that I'm not confident in like making some money on because we just profit split at the end of the day. So it really costs me no money if the car does nothing. And then it costs me money if it rents and it costs me money if it sits in the building and stuff like that. Right. And so I want it to be gone because then we're all making money. Yeah. And that's kind of how I would structure the answer, I guess. Maybe the town car would do great because I've been surprised by certain cars that we've got.
Oh, really?
What's the car that surprised you the most? The X1 I've heard does well.
The X1 fits the business model of what Turo used to be. Okay. You go buy a car for $8 or $9 grand and it does 10 to 15 a year. Right. Like I think that was purchased for 10-ish thousand. Okay. It's been here for 3 years. Okay. I think it's averaging, in Minnesota, it's averaging 10 grand a year because we have such a steep drop off with winter. Yeah. But I think that's not a bad investment. Mm-hmm. It's not like get rich money. No. But if you multiplied that, and that's really where like we feel the difference. You know, when we started with 4 cars, it was like, yeah, this is kind of fun, you know. Right. And like 30 cars, I think sometimes it's too much of a headache. But when we hit the summer months and everything's like cooking, it's like, wow, this is like kind of feels nice. Mm-hmm. You know.
I mean, you all probably have a little extra cash in your pocket too doing this as well. Is it tough splitting it between 5 owners?
A little bit, yeah. We as a company have spent, and we're all kind of aligned on this. We're like, if we pull financing, like that puts a 5-year clock on the business. So within 5 years, can we make this something that like we're super amped on? So when all these loans and leases end, we just renew and like double down, do it again. Mm-hmm. Or like, it was fun for 5 years, but maybe we're done with it now. Mm-hmm. I would say we're definitely leaning towards like, what does expansion look like and what does more look like and how do better buys look like? But the money that has been made has really been focused on like building it more to be its own self-sustaining thing that then reports to us.
Okay.
And so with the 2 full-time employees basically running Minneapolis and running Drivify, we now have warehouses in both cities. Obviously, we have way too many car payments.
Yeah.
Like, that's where the money is being spent. Sometimes there's a little bit of wins, or, you know, as car guys, it's like, hey, maybe let's go buy a different car because that's fun and exciting, but then it's still useful to the business. Because when we talk about as owners, like splitting the money or profits, like every business should make you money and you should get a paycheck, and that's what we're building for. But in this early stage of like, if there's 5 of us and we all want to win together, like however much we take from the company is multiplied by 5. Even if it's $1,000 a person, that's $5,000 a month.
Right.
$5,000 a month will buy you another Huracan.
True.
A Huracan
so you guys are constantly reinvesting then?
So, and a Huracan will do $9,000 a month.
Yeah.
Do you guys get to hop in them too anytime you want and go cruising around?
Yeah. That's kind of like the biggest benefit. That was like why we all started it. We're like, hey, like if it doesn't work, we got to play with some sports cars. It's working. I will admit that like we get kind of busy. So Golden Peaks is like where me, Ben, and Grant work full time. Yep. And then Tint Pros, obviously that's where Treat and Teen work full time.
Yep.
And then together we all kind of come in and, you know, Travis is running the ship that is Drivify, and then we're helping cars get washed and cleaned and moved as they need to.
Yep.
But eventually we need people to like be moving the cars, so I don't have to drive to the airport 6 times a week or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Moving out here though, we've made some changes. So like our delivery fees to the airport are higher.
Okay.
And that's really to encourage people to just come to us, like leave your car here, take our car kind of thing.
Okay.
It's an Uber from the airport to here is cheaper than you paying to have us bring it to the airport.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So a lot of changes like that are either putting money in our pocket for the hassle, or they're saving us time, which allows us to focus on other things.
Yeah. Well, the time thing's
is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like Drivify went from 4 cars to like 14 cars right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is easy. This is fun. Like I do my video editing and I'll run out and move cars for a couple hours. And like I get to drive a different car every couple minutes, and that's fun. And like a year or 2 went by and I was like, this is like a lot of time.
It really adds up.
And it's not, you either have to have 2 cars or you have to Uber yourself out of there too. Because it's not like you just drove the car there, but now you don't have a car.
Yeah.
The guy I did the Colorado one, he had a little electric scooter in the trunk and he just went home that way.
And that's why, so I live like 5 minutes away from here. It's really, and Travis lives 5 minutes that way from here. So weekends, really easy. Cars here and there, really easy. The airport and Turo used to have this awesome agreement where anybody could park in the self-park ramp for free. You just had to have a Turo reservation number. That's gone. So that's part of the changes that Turo are doing. So now renters and us as hosts are required to pay whatever the airport's hourly fee is.
Okay.
So before this building, we would have 20 cars at the airport at all times. Because like you could get them in and out for free with Turo reservation numbers.
I thought the Minneapolis airport had a specialty thing for
That's what it was. It's gone
now. Now it's completely gone. Okay.
And so that was part of the push to get to this building.
Right.
And then that storm that we had that hit Anoka last October or whatever it was.
Sure.
That hurt the Tint Pros building.
Yeah.
And ironically, it hurt the section of the building that was unfinished that where Drivify operated out of. So the garage doors didn't work. And it's like, okay, well, we can't be at the Turo or we can't be at the airport and we can't be at Tint Pros anymore. And so that's what kind of lit the fire under this space. And it was always a plan to get a warehouse like this, but we probably got pushed into that, I don't know, a year early versus what we were planning financially. And so then things like that, it's just like always kind of pivoting.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or cars get stolen or break or whatever.
Yeah. So is the GTR the most expensive financially, like repair-wise then?
I think the GTR is the car that we've spent the most money on to fix it. It is still profitable though.
Yeah, well,
surprisingly.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
What's the most expensive car you have in the fleet?
Oh yeah, because the Huracan's gone.
The one that we bought, probably the R8. No, I shouldn't say this. The C8R is the most expensive car that we bought. And we bought it when C8s were the hot commodity.
Yeah.
And we bought a C8R and we paid $127,000.
I was going to say that's up there. Yeah. Talk about depreciation. Jeez.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Call it a tax write-off.
It's a car game.
There's some other benefits.
That's holy shit. I completely forgot.
While a terrible purchase, and on paper, like, why would you spend $120,000 on a C8? There's really no difference between the 1LT and the 3LT.
Right.
But because the car actually makes money,
yeah,
what that's done on the back end is it just extended the time that we have to keep renting it to win.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
And the money that it's generated so far, I don't know off the top of my head.
Right.
But we're in a fine position that if it totaled now and insurance had to come and play, we would break even or come out ahead.
Okay.
But that's always the scary part with this is like, if I go buy a brand new car from the lot, you lose however much depreciation right away. So if I buy it and it rents the next day and it crashes, that's the risk, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess that's been the game that we're trying to learn.
What about the whole stolen game though? Because like you did the Range Rover, the Jeep.
Sorry.
How you doing over there?
I think I'm doing okay on time. Hey, look at that. Great news. Your parts are in at Valley GMC. That's for the Hummer. The last part has arrived.
So I'll be back here today then.
Yep. Right. And I think it crashed November 9th or something. So $349 a day for however many days that is what I'll call insurance on Monday for.
Jesus.
And then they'll probably say no, but like.
Right. But at least something, right?
Yeah. How about 70%? I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Throwing a little cut there from my editing. I love transcripts. They're awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's worse, totaling or stuff getting stolen?
They're kind of the same, I would assume.
They are kind of the same, but insurance doesn't pay for stolen cars.
What do you mean?
Insurance doesn't cover theft. I don't know how to say that differently.
Well,
so if I rent to you,
okay,
and you're the one that steals it, your insurance will not pay me.
Okay.
If I rent to you and he steals it, your insurance will pay me.
Okay.
So that's where like vetting becomes very important. Like honestly, probably the most important for private rentals. The person who stole the Range Rover was the insured person. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to get paid. So,
if they damage the vehicle, though, do they pay you for that?
They would, but I also have to like be able to prove that, which means the car's probably back in my possession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which means like I would have to go get it back. Mm-hmm. Turo becomes an interesting play because they have a trust and safety team or whatever. We work with this company called Active Watch USA. Mm-hmm. They do a little bit of everything, but it is focused around like safety and private protection and like PI stuff.
Okay.
And so they're the people that we call when things get strange. Like maybe just follow these people for a couple of days. Mm. Do you think it's going to disappear? Like what's going on? And then we can usually get reimbursed for like what they bill us to do their work from insurance, assuming we can repo the asset. So like the Cybertruck got rented. It was gone for like 6 days. It went back and forth to Chicago like 3 times. The day it was supposed to come back, they wanted to extend. They didn't pay. It was supposed to come back. They started becoming non-responsive.
All right, Dan, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think your wife loves you?
Ooh, it's got to be like an 8, solid 8.
So I think it would be great if she used your credit card to go to tunedbysean, SHAWN.com, to get you a Haltech ECU for 5% off using code Minnoxide. Does that math out?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think we tell her about this ad until it runs, though.
But it was coming up from Chicago, and it passed through like Woodbury and popped over to Cottage Grove for some reason. I don't know. But we had the Active Watch people watching it, and Travis was in the car with them, and they pulled into a Holiday gas station to like get snacks or something. And then they hopped out because they had tailed them for a few miles. They hopped out, got in the Cybertruck, and drove away. So like, we got second keys for everything. We have location of everything. Like it's pretty easy to try to get it back, assuming you're safe. You never know what people are going to do when you try to take the car.
Yeah.
So like we took the car back, then Active Watch, they're all either active or ex-military and police, law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And so they look the part, their license, they carry rifles, their cars look like cop cars. Like it's very legit.
Okay.
And so the renter got really heated, and Trey, who we work with, kind of got involved, and then he became this negotiator. So Travis took the car, went back to our gated facility, which was different than here. So the car was locked away. We at least had it, but we had all of their stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was like I think there were drugs, but like cameras and computers and who knows what else. And so that's all the renter really wanted, and all we wanted was our car. So then he became this mediator. And so like Trey would come and grab some things and give it back to the renter, and the renter had to like pay Trey so like we could get reimbursed for the things. And
okay.
She was, I can't remember how many hours past due. It smelled like weed, so we started hitting the card for this. We always, very clear communication, a lot of communication in emails or text, so there's proof saying this is what's wrong, this is what I'm running charges for, this is what I'm doing, so we can stand on that. And then it's a headache to clean up, and then it goes back out.
So what does that service look like? Is it like you have them on retainer, or do you just
They do typically act on retainer. They have a few big clients. They do a lot of stuff with like the Vikings, I think, or other sports facilities when like a big event's there, the private security. That's the kind of stuff that they do. They usually like retainer, but they're really cool car guys. Okay. Like really, like they love cars. He's got a really sick like Hellcat Charger.
Okay.
He wants us to rent it. I am hesitant mostly because I know what will happen to it. Right?
Even after the things that he's seen.
It'll go to the takeovers, right?
100%.
And so we'll see what happens with that. But we have an hourly rate with them.
Okay.
And so as long as they're on call, which someone from his team usually is, I just say, here's what's going on. They already have access to all of our trackers.
Okay.
So they have their own login. And I just say, hey, maybe watch this. Let me know what you think about it.
Okay.
Certain people, we can do background checks to them, stuff like that, which is nice.
So you mentioned, like, for example, like they just popped in and basically stole the Cybertruck back. They still have access to the other key at this point, though. How do you get that
so they
other
had
key?
the flappy key card. That's all we give to the Tesla owner specifically.
Okay.
Usually we don't get the second key back.
Okay. So you just basically get your
because
keys.
how are they going to find the car, right? Maybe they'll come here and try to break in and like steal the car back, but that would be stupid.
Right.
There's low chance that they're going to be walking through like the Aldi parking lot and see the Cybertruck. Like, I still have the key. I should
But they'll
steal
get
it.
their girlfriend to rent it again, though.
That's true.
Well,
That's true.
and but you can. I don't understand people sometimes. Like
I don't
even
either.
when you steal cell phones, things like that. I'm like, everything has GPS in it now. I'm pretty sure you can get a toaster with GPS and Wi-Fi connection, right?
Oh yeah.
So like, what do you think is gonna happen in this situation? I don't understand.
And let alone the Tesla with all the cameras.
Yeah, right.
Like-
A Tesla specifically, even if you didn't have trackers, and it can be found no problem.
Yep. I don't get it either. And like they think they can. I mean, I get it because everybody makes excuses, but sometimes the stories that you hear about why they can't or they're not going to be there or whatever, it's just like. I mean, I can see, like, the X3 lady today was trying to say that she had a medical emergency, was waiting to get discharged, and that's why she couldn't come today. And I was like, look, this is like the facts of how we operate, and we strive to be really legit and professional. And it's not like I'm going to repo the car, but I will come take the car because I have to see it today. Mm-hmm. And she's like, okay, fine, I'll be there. And it's like, I know you'll be there. Like, but I fainted, and I'm at the hospital, and I'm waiting to get discharged. And while that could be true, and I'm really sorry, this is like what I need.
Right.
Is there like a?
Because you have certain rules you play by. You have to play by too.
Yeah, because if I was like lenient and like, okay, let me know when you get out. Who knows when that could be? It could be a week. Like as soon as today was day 30 of her on that reservation, and so as a rental car agency, you have to write reservations for 30 days or 31 days or less. Otherwise, it becomes like this weird blend into the finance world of what a lease could look like or what a loan would look like, and then the insurance is different.
Yeah.
So if she bled into 31 or 32 days, nobody's protected.
Yeah.
Which means if she stole it, like, tough luck for me. If she gets in a car accident, tough luck for both of us, but I'm going to take her to court. I know she can't afford that. So like, it's better to just have the tough conversation, bring me the car, and you can be on your way, you know?
Is there a red flag text? Is there like, okay, so like, hey, I'm going to be late, maybe not a big deal, right? But at what point do you start going, oh, shit?
Usually if the tracker is like nowhere near,
Okay.
you know, so there's an example. Someone was in Rochester.
Okay.
They were supposed to return the car in 30 minutes. They say, hey, I'll be there in like 45 minutes. Like you're in Rochester, like an hour and a half away. And I can see that like you're still at the gas stations, like you're not even driving. And so that would be like, okay, either start to offer like from a marketing perspective, like you've been a great renter. Do you need some more time? Can I get you more time? Can I give you a discount? You want more days, whatever. But then if they just become non-responsive, that's usually the biggest red flag.
Okay.
And then you just kind of start watching their haptics. And be
So
like,
the red flag is no text at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you call and just get a voicemail, or they say, I'll call you back, and they never do.
Okay.
Usually that stuff happens near the end of a trip or on the last day. But again, that kind of stuff only happens in like the SUVs, which is also weird. Or like the Tesla, we've seen it.
Right.
But like the sports cars, like great renters. And that's where I've been really surprised. The people enjoy the cars for sure.
Yeah.
But like they come back clean. If there's ever anything weird, like the GTR will throw a check engine light, or the R8 will throw a check engine light, because that's what it does. The GT3 needs oil. Like they're always like on top of it, ask questions. We help them through the process. And,
Well, it's also so visible too, right? Like if you steal a Porsche,
like
you know within 30 minutes, especially if it's it's white,
Right.
white wheels.
Right.
You steal a Camry, you're like, which one?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't mind if the Camry got stolen, but if it was beneficial for me.
Yeah.
Just
But then you also got like the SRT. It's like you kind of saw that one.
Yep.
Do you get alerts like, let's say I rent the GTR and I take her up over into the triple digits. Are you getting a text or an alert from your thing? Yeah.
And maybe I have alerts around certain locations around the cities too.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Like racetracks.
Oh,
It's pretty clear, like in our rental agreement, that every car guy knows your State Farm insurance is going to follow you on the racetrack.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people also know that. So like the cars will go to power crews. A lot of times those people are really nice and they let us know what they're doing, and we'll work through them like with that and make it clear, like, please do not race this.
Okay.
If you do race this, like here's a massive checklist of everything that I need to see.
Okay.
And like extra forms, because like I know the abuse, right? Mm-hmm. The whole theory of like maintenance is hard to prove on the renter's negligence, right? But if I can prove negligence, that's when we would come after you.
Yeah.
And so
wait, you're saying I could technically rent one of your cars for power crews? Is that what you're telling me?
Technically, but like I might just say it's not available.
Okay. Or you might require like track insurance.
Exactly. So I would like the documents that I would need is like very specific. Like here's our car on a Haggerty policy or whatever with you for like way whoever, right? Yeah. With way too much liability, because like GTR not worth too much, right? Yeah. You put it in the wall, that sucks. But like if you're at a track day with like a LaFerrari and you put both of them in the wall and it's your fault, like that's the kind of problems that you run into pretty quick. So
makes sense.
It's structured in a way that it just is really financially silly to like want to rent one of our cars to take it on a racetrack.
To be fair though, if I run into a LaFerrari on the racetrack, we're both fucked, because there's no on a racetrack, nobody's winning in that situation. Yeah. He's not gonna be able to go after me, I can't go after him.
Right.
Because if I rent a GTR, like I'm gonna see what it can do.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So like you have to expect some of it.
Yeah. There's in our rental agreement, I believe we have a clause that says something like excess speed, is subject to some sort of one-time fee that we can, our rental agreements are also structured as credit card authorizations, which when cars come back dirty and then you don't answer me about cleaning it and here's your cleaning fee, we can just say, we've never used it because a lot of times people are receptive. Okay. If I see 100, I might text you or call you and just be like, I see you floored the GTR 50 times. It's a great car, right? The GTR being so torquey, it will like trigger the hard acceleration warning at like half throttle. It's like it's really kind of hard to gauge that car specifically. Okay. But if I see like 100, 110, 150, like whatever, I'm like
150 is where I'd be a little nervous.
That's where like I don't even talk to you and Trey might show up and the car will be gone, kind of thing. Okay. Active watch.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Just because like at that point you're so far above the law.
Yeah.
And I know that, and you know that like you're going to be pissed at me. Maybe you'll take me to court because I repoed the car from you or whatever.
Have you ever done that?
No.
For speeding?
No, well, we've taken cars back, yes, but we haven't been taken to court because usually it's like, we also really try to be level-headed. We get a lot of people who maybe won't agree with certain things or charges, and it's like, these are just the facts, and let's talk about it. We're like cool guys at the end of the day.
What's an instance you guys have taken a car back outside of being stolen?
Before, I guess, blending the lines of being stolen, if they're like a day late, we'll just show up and take it. Okay. And this is where I get surprised by our renters is like, I've seen some speeds, but I haven't really seen speeds or driving haptics that is like, I'm going to go take the car and I'm not going to tell them. Because it always comes to that phone call or that text first. It's hey, chill, I get it.
What's the highest speed you've seen in one of your rental cars?
Ooh, 141.
Really?
Yeah, I
know.
That's it? Again, you'll be surprised. But it was in the Range Rover.
Oh, shit. Yeah. That's a different deal.
Okay, that's like 240 in a Lambo.
Yeah. So, and that was one of those instances where we had to go take the car because she was also becoming unresponsive and she was far away from the drop off and it was supposed to be there in 10 minutes and it was, I'll be there in 20 minutes, I'll be there in an hour, I'll be there in 20 minutes, I'll be there in an hour. Well, clearly you're not coming.
One of the reasons I'm a little bit easier on rentals too, like people say, and again, I'll floor them every once in a while to see what they'll do, but you're still liable. So like I rent the GTR from you and I take it up to 150 and I roll it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like,
dude, best case is like you're speeding and you crash. Yeah. Like best case for me, right?
Right.
Because if you're speeding and the trans blows up, that's just a gray area. Right? Like I could really be like, bro, you had some fun. You can't tell me you weren't not beaten on it. Mm-hmm. But like also I would have to have a shop tear it down, look at like, I don't know, the ECU time stamping and match that to the tracker of the hard accelerator to really build the proof to just hit you with a transmission bill.
Is that something you'd have to prove to like an actual judge too? Like when, or no?
I guess if it was taken to court, right?
If it went to that level?
Yeah.
And then it's like,
because a lot of people are respectable enough too that when things have happened on the sports cars that they're like, man, like, I'm really sorry. And like, I'm receptive to that. Like, okay, let's work through what happened.
Yeah.
Right? Were you being stupid or was it like, whatever? Like the guy who hit the porcupine in our R8 and blew out the mag ride. Like he called me. He's like, dude, I'm so sorry. I was like, well, what happened? He hit a porcupine in Duluth, and the mag ride like threw a bunch of errors.
Okay.
And so the left side of the car mag ride had failed, and it was super weird and bouncy.
yeah.
I said, okay, this is actually like physical damage, a little bit different. Like what we're gonna do is just work with your insurance. So his insurance paid for new mag ride, but we put BC coilovers in for half the cost, and then bought wheels and tires.
This is a Jay situation. By
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah. So
Well, if it's a
highlight I
rental
had to
too,
go
you don't
viral.
want to like, you know, there's some things you want to do. People can abuse them still, so you don't want to
Yes.
go too crazy with what you're putting into them.
right,
sometimes.
and we've had a lot of success with people who, I don't know, it's sometimes petty damage, like they'll curb a wheel on the R8 or something. They're like, I'm so sorry. Like we're so, we're not quick to cut the bridge, right? I would rather be like, let's work through this. You know what? You took good care of the car. This kind of thing happens. Then they come back and they keep renting. That's way more money than like, give me my $200 to go get the wheel redone.
Right.
And like through fighting tooth and nail and burning the bridge.
Yeah.
So
But you're
like,
still not putting a $20,000 set of forge lines on it. It's like if I was renting a house, I'm not going to go all Electrolux,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
appliances in it.
Yeah.
You're going to get the bottom of the barrel Menard shit.
yeah, it's all stock wheels. We have some Rohana wheels on the R8 that we got from Marketplace.
Okay.
So that's kind of nice, I guess. But
Yeah. But you're definitely, yeah, I mean, you're not going to ding someone for that. Like
Yeah.
if you curved the wheel on this Beamer right here, it might be an issue.
right.
These ones are probably a little bit more, but are those real BBS?
These are. Oh, frick, I forgot the name of them, but they're the GT4 RC whatevers.
Okay.
They came off of a Camaro race car. I found them on Facebook Marketplace for a good deal.
Really?
Had to get them repowder coated in the center board, like drilled to BMW because the Camaros are super tiny.
Is that
Yeah,
why
yeah.
there's no center cap?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it
okay.
looks like a race car. So
Yeah.
we're like, this is how they came, right? I need to put the stickers on so people stop asking me if they're,
If they're real.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're real, man. The sticker will tell you.
Yeah.
Because I can't put that on any other wheel.
Yeah, like when people put, what was it, the fake like Volk stickers or whatever?
Yeah.
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 You see that
Because
all the time.
Apex makes a wheel that looks just like this.
Yeah,
And so
yep,
people
yeah.
think they're Apex, which
Yeah.
is fine.
Well, there's
Apex
so
are
many
good wheels
knockoff
too.
wheels now too. Like there's a guy locally that's ripping off a lot of like big names.
Yeah.
And it's like just, I think he's getting them made in China too or whatever. So it's like, oh man, come on. But
Oh man.
okay, so then so deal with that. I feel like, are we mostly caught
I mean,
up
it's
on all the
mostly,
theft?
yeah. I mean, Drivify is just problem-solving headaches is how I would.
Okay.
The benefit for me still is there, and I do get to enjoy the cars.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
love
actually, answer this one for us. So, for example, like we were looking at renting a Rivian from Minnesota to take down to Texas, right? Because it was unlimited miles, right?
Ah, you found a good deal.
Yeah. So,
I don't give unlimited miles.
yeah. So, what's the deal? Would we get it? Would there have been an issue if we took it down to Texas because it was unlimited miles?
Was it Turo?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine.
Really?
Yeah. Sometimes, like, when people are operating off Turo, so we just call it private, there'll be limitations about, like, keep it in the States, whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's actually a rule about that.
Okay.
The only problems you're going to run into is if you just don't bring it back.
Okay.
Like, for some reason, a family emergency, right? Because you're a good guy, you wouldn't steal it. But you go to Texas and you have to fly back.
Right.
Like, either the host will bill you a lot to go get it or just keep
Yeah.
extending your trip until you can get back down there,
Yep.
pick it up and drive it back or something.
That makes sense. So let's say a particular individual within our group wanted to street race said Rivian down in Texas. Like at what point, because like obviously this car is 16 hours away
Yeah.
and that person has their or the renter has the tracker and can see you're speeding and, you know, lots of hard accelerations.
Yeah.
Could they just be like, all right, I'm picking up the car? At that point, it's across the country.
Yeah, you could be. And that's where, like, Turo, there's a lot of hosts who think Turo does more than they actually do for us as hosts.
Yeah.
There's, if you just join the Facebook groups, it's comedy.
Oh, it's
like,
horrible, yeah.
My car is 3 states away. It was supposed to be back yesterday. What do I do? And everyone's like, go get it. Like, Turo's not going to go get it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what they would do. Like, in our case, that's why I like ActiveWatch. You know, I put ActiveWatch on the plane and just go get it.
Oh, really?
You know? and just pay them whatever they bill, I guess. And
dude, they're ex-military and police officers. They probably don't get argued with a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We have a couple cases because
they also can probably carry, not necessarily on the plane, but it's easier for them to travel with a firearm than
and I mean,
else.
we haven't had to do that, but like,
Yeah.
Trey and
Let's
his team
consider
are
this
awesome.
a warning.
Right. Right.
Just look directly at the camera.
Right.
Fuck around and find out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, I'll let you have some fun and I'll work with you and I'm flexible. But eventually it's like, I do need the car back.
Okay.
So like, just don't get me there, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you had some like knockdown, drag out arguments with a renter? Like even screaming matches or anything like that?
No.
You seem like a pretty laid back guy anyway, but.
We had one guy when we were at the Tint Pros building who wanted the Hummer extremely last minute. Like called the phone, said I can be there in 45 minutes, we'll be ready. And it was one of those like, I think it's dirty, I think it's low on charge, the interior is probably dusty. But like I can pull it out, I can be wiping it down. And he shows up and he's in a rush. And so I forgot who was prepping it, but like it wasn't washed. It had like 50% charge, like that's an inconvenience. And he's, I can't take this car, blah, blah, blah. Like this is such an inconvenience. It's like, dude, maybe I wasn't clear enough because like we do operate on a 6-hour notice. Like if you want a car at noon, as soon as you can get it at 6 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that just allows us time to make sure somebody can get the car ready. And that was one of those experiences that helped us figure that one out. But I was like, I'm pretty sure I told you on the phone, like, you kind of get it as is. And then it's just not worth the headache because they're all, I can't believe I would take such a hit. He went to Google and started writing bad reviews. And he didn't even take the car. And I was like,
the human race. It's hard to be in a rental business of any kind.
Yep. Yeah, you definitely see from the lowest of low to the highest of highs. Because we have some customers, it's like, got a car? Yes. Okay, I take it for 3 months. Oh, here you go. Paid. Great. Don't talk to you anymore. See you in 3 months.
Do a lot of people tell you what they're planning on doing? Is the sports car stuff more of a flex? Be like, I just want to go to Cars and Coffee with it? Or
I actually see the cars at Cars and Coffee and other car shows less than I would have thought. Because like as a car guy myself, I would be like, oh, maybe I'll rent the Supra and like, I don't know, go to Highly Import Nights or something.
Yeah.
But I've seen that a lot less than I think. The sports cars definitely get rented pretty often at like a 12-hour rate, which we do, I think it's 20% off the 24-hour rate. Then you get 12 hours in the car, about 100 miles. And we'll see that like on a Friday morning, Friday night. They'll go drive some curvy roads.
100 miles, that's rough, dude. Because
that's
it's like 40 miles to get here.
That's why everybody books for a day, because then you get 200 miles.
Yeah. Because getting here is a pain in the ass. I drove 41 to get here.
I tell you what, though, because we were in Fridley, which is basically Minneapolis. I was like, oh, like Hastings to me, close to my house, so convenient. Like I could do that all day.
Yeah.
Because driving from my house to Tint Pros to pull a car out or whatever, just like it becomes a 3-hour endeavor because you got to wash it and drive it and blah, blah, blah. So like we might lose some rents moving to Hastings. There's people coming here way more often than people went to Fridley, which is, it kind of blows my mind.
Really? Okay.
But I think we're starting to tap, like I see a lot of addresses from Woodbury, Stillwater, a little bit of Huston renters.
Again, everybody overlooks the east side of the city.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. I like the east side.
Yeah. I've always, and I think I talked to Ben about this once, I want to come in and I want to give you like $500 and I want to take each car for a couple hours.
Yeah.
Is that an option?
We have the idea and it's just really been a time thing to like figure it out. But we want to roll out like hourly packages or like date night packages or like a cruise package where
kind
it's
of like how Royalty Exotics does it.
Yeah. So like if the R8's $400 a day, but you want it for the 2-hour route, it might be $150. Like here's your pin by pin Google Maps, whatever. And like maybe there's a cool coffee shop or a restaurant that you do.
Yeah.
Or like you've said, I've done something similar where every like 12 hours for like 2 days, someone will switch. So they'll end up paying, like I'll just take the day rates of however many cars they want and then average that and then charge them the 12-hour intervals every time they switch. And then they can kind of dance around that way.
Yeah.
We have everything's listed at like just our market rates, but you call me and you're a good buddy or a bro or you're super excited about something, like there's not discounts kind of just like floating around somewhere too, you know.
I don't think that model would work though, right?
No, I just want to do it personally because it was it was before I had the GT500 and I knew I was wanting to go into something else and then my car blew up so it kind of forced my hand anyway, but it was when I was like, I wanted to know what it was like to drive a GTR. And then you guys had the Lambo at the time. And like, I was like, I just want to come in and like, just do a little bit just to go see. Like I don't even need an hour really. I just want to go rip the car a little bit and see what it's like.
Yeah.
Do it the Hamilton collection style, the 30-minute rentals.
Yeah.
I've talked to them a few times. I forget. I've talked to Tommy a lot. But they have a different kid on staff that manages all of that.
Yeah. I swiped up on their story like 3 days ago. I'm like, because like they expressed interest in doing a podcast like when we're down there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I should do some 60 to 130 videos for my Hinge profile with those cars. They're like, bet.
Yeah. They're super chill.
Yeah.
Steve and his team are awesome.
But yeah, it's like $1,000 for like 30 minutes with the Bugatti.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
That's not a bad deal though.
But it isn't a bad deal though, because think about it,
like honestly, would you pay $1,000 to drive a Bugatti for 30 minutes? I think I might.
I would.
If I had $1,000 to throw away, I would.
Right.
Yeah.
But it could even be something that like, oh, I know they're doing this. So like in a year for my next birthday, like I'm gonna go spend $1,000.
Well, it's like a once in a lifetime sort of deal too, right? Like for let's call it 99.999% of people, like you and I kind of have gotten the luxuries of being around,
got to play with
high-end cars and all that. But for most people, it's like $1,000 to rip a Bugatti. That profile picture alone is worth it.
Nah, right.
Well, I guess if you set $333 aside for 3 months, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go do this. I guess it doesn't sound as bad.
I mean,
no, I would do it.
guess I don't
if we go down there, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
No,
I got to drive Triple F's Bugatti, whatever their latest one is.
Oh.
The really expensive one.
Because there's a cheap Bugatti.
We went to
It's a cheap Bugatti.
You drove the piece of shit Veyron?
They're pure Sport, Super Sport. It's not the 300. It's blue and carbon black. Like it's the carbon black body with the carbon fiber black colored. Not like color.
I'm such a Bugatti
but blue.
enthusiast.
Because they have the Chiron. Like when the Chiron came out, they bought that blue on blue.
Yeah.
And then whenever the fashion one, you could get the 300 version.
Yeah, yep.
But that only came in one spec, and they wanted a spec, so they got the other version.
So it might have been the Pure Sport, because that's the one that doesn't have the crazy top speed. It's more track oriented or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
something like that.
I
got to drive that for like 20 minutes home from dinner.
Okay.
Night. That was
He was riding
right next to me. No, because it was like 40 degrees, which was even scarier.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, no, terrifying.
No,
because like quarter throttle is like full throttle in this.
Yeah. Well, my first time in Adam's twin turbo Viper, it was 38 degrees. We got up to
Adam scares me. I want to ride in his Viper so bad, but I'm a little bit scared.
Here's the deal.
Not because of him, it's because of the car.
Yeah,
just to be clear.
The thing is that guy, like in our episode, Dan was like, yeah, I'll go for a ride. Just keep in mind that you and I both have enough kids to start an iPhone factory because they each have 4+ kids. So it's like, he's very wise about where he does it.
That's good.
So if you were to go for a ride, and I really hope people don't ask him for ride-alongs because he doesn't do that, but like you've known Adam for years.
Adam just texted me. He said anybody listening to this episode can get a free ride if they text him.
Which episode?
Doesn't matter, either one. His or this one.
It's out there now, so everyone's texting Adam,
Yeah. No, but yeah, I will say the last time we were in it, I did start kind of shitting my pants a little bit.
Dude, the videos he posts are just vicious.
Yeah. It's actually, so you're probably thinking like when it had the sequential in it, you definitely, that feel-wise, it was more, well, it's kind of like a manual car. You feel more, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with the current setup with the TH400, it's an automatic, so it just keeps pulling.
Is it automatic? That's a thing?
Oh yeah, automatic Vipers. Oh yeah, they're a thing now.
I thought they only came manual from factory. It's
gonna
make me sound really dumb.
Yeah,
but when you want to go fast in anything in a drag racing world, you throw an automatic in there.
Darn.
I just pissed off the comments. Shit.
Yeah, if you wanna, trade in your stuff for a purse, and then you're moving into a automatic car.
Adam's purse looks great.
Yeah.
But
you have to open the purse in order to get that anyway, I guess.
How do we even get on that topic?
Fast cars.
Fast cars. Oh yeah, no,
car
Bugatti.
stuff.
Bugatti, Hamilton. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, no. Kind of transitioning into like the Golden Peak side of things. So you've worked with Triple F. You worked with Alex Troy, which we talked about on the previous episode, which was funny. What are some of the more fun projects you've done in like the last year and a half? Are you still traveling a lot?
Yes, I had a kid 11 months ago next week.
Yeah.
So I've traveled less. I've tried to travel less. I've sent Ben and Grant. I think they're still traveling the same amount, if not more.
Okay.
We're still doing a little bit of the rally stuff. We did a longtail rally last year.
Okay.
Awesome group of guys. Super cool event. I didn't get to go on it. We got to do Curated's rally.
Okay. So higher end rallies.
Yeah, which is We Are Curated in Miami, who sell all the really rare sports cars. And their theme was like Halo cars from the 90s or the 80s.
Okay.
They were like 3 F40s. Like,
is that the one that Josh went on?
Yeah, so Josh, Ben, and Grant. I also didn't go on that one.
Gotcha.
But that was really cool. Like the footage that you get from events like that are just this wild. We haven't done anything with it.
Yeah.
Because, client Curated specifically, they just hired us to shoot. So their team cut all the videos and did all the marketing. Okay. But eventually, like, I want to use that stuff for our portfolio. I've just been busy. I would say a little bit of pivot on the Golden Peak side is I was focused for a long time on like the remote editing for like YouTubers or influencers or even companies. That it all stemmed from COVID when that hit and nobody was filming in person, but everyone still took iPhone videos, but then didn't know what to do with it. That's where I kind of found this. Oh, I could be your editors. And that's actually, I think, how I hired Ben and Grant too, because I just was able to kind of load up the back end and be like, okay, I need more people to cut videos.
Yeah.
But I really want to get back into like just the more commercial stuff. Like the more
like 3M,
like the more passion behind actually everything is cool that we filmed, but like really putting your head down to like come up with a cool concept and make a video about it. So we did one after SEMA with 3M, which a portion that's come out, but it's still in post. So that's exciting. I want to try to sell more work like that. We've got the moto crane that we bought for banging gears. I've only used it a few times since, but I'm trying to find more excuse to like run that stuff. Yeah. For a while there, I was a little bit burned out and just kind of like in the grind, and Golden Peaks hasn't hardly been active on social media for like 2 years now.
Yeah. And then also the kid thing.
The kid thing, yeah.
Nothing take your wind out of your sails more than having a kid.
Yeah. I would say I had this work burnout for a long time. The kid, Luella, she rejuvenated my life. The three of us, we love it. It's just amazing. And now I care about work so much more in a different way. But I just don't care to be like, look at the cool thing we've done now.
Right.
Look at the next cool thing. And like,
you're kind of over that?
Yeah, it's a lot of effort for
not much reward.
Because I don't like make an Instagram post and then get a job from it, right?
Yeah.
I can say the validity that comes from Instagram and Facebook is like looking like we're busy and still doing cool things.
Yeah.
But when I look at how I used to post, it's like, oh, look, Triple F's Bugatti. Oh,
yeah.
No, I just like,
kind
of I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just unmotivated by social media, which I think a lot of us are.
Yeah.
And so I want to share more finished work and be like, look at this cool project. And less about like, oh, yeah, maybe it's my problem with like how influencers carry themselves or people who call themselves entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
Like, always in this. No, podcasters are cool. Podcasters are cool, right? But
the mic's off too.
Yeah.
How much of it is work? So like you're doing some really cool shit, but like it's not like you get to go there and just hang totally, right? How do you kind of mix a little bit of both, or?
We mix a little bit of both. I'd say earlier on I was a lot more like, we're gonna, I don't know, do a crown rally. And then after the crown rally, everyone's gonna rip the tail of the dragon for like 3 days, right? And like hang out. So we would do that earlier on. I would say as we've gotten busier, in a way it's forced me to be like, let's be efficient and like get in and get out, but like also try not to kill ourselves and do like massive days, but not very many days, like we're in and out. There's definitely been projects where like we're doing 15-hour days and then it's just a blur. You come home like, I don't even remember what we did.
Yeah.
But there's a bit of a balance. I would say that I really do love what I do with Golden Peaks. And so like in the sense of do what you love and never work in a day of your life or however that goes. Yeah. I feel that. And I definitely like realize that, and I feel really blessed to be able to do that. And like that's kind of Drivify plays into that too, because like, I mean, full transparency, I'm not really getting a paycheck from Drivify. I still love it enough that like the benefit to be able to play with the cars, even though it is a headache to like figure other things out, like
you're still scaling it too, though.
I really enjoy it.
It sustains itself though?
Yeah.
Which is already pretty good for a business, to be honest with you.
I mean, we definitely lost, and then we got to compensate, and then, you win and you kind of take back, and there's a lot of that. But I did valet all through college. And so like in the warehouse, like moving the cars, parking the cars, like pulling them in and out, like, oh, I love this. It's so, I don't know why.
You're always meant to be a valet.
Yeah, I guess so. Hey, welcome to Drivify. I'm the owner and the valet.
Professional valet. That's what your new your job is on Facebook.
Yeah.
What's that like? Can we touch on that? Because I've never really talked to anybody that valeted cars. Is that
I would say like the opposite side of renting cars, because I know the quality of the car that then I hand out. But as a valet, you get into the quality of car that shows up. So sometimes it's like really nice, and sometimes it's just like disgusting.
Okay.
And just like, just gross.
What's the most disgusting thing that comes to mind?
There was a car that I got in that I think I don't know why she would have valeted, because it was a very old car. The back seat couldn't see it. The front seat couldn't see it. Floor wells couldn't see it. Trash. All the way, like only the driver's seat cut out in this trash pile inside the car.
I've seen cars like that.
And I was just like, this is disgusting.
Really?
Like driving down the ramp, like dibs on not pulling this one back out.
Yeah.
But
That's freaking nuts.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
But then there's been some cool shit.
for
To valet.
valet, yeah.
I guess it depends on
So
where you're valeting.
my
It's
first
not like
time-
Mayo Clinic, but you're at like if it's a high-end restaurant or hotel.
Yeah,
then,
my first time ever meeting Jesse Lawrence
Okay.
when he had his twin turbo Huracan.
No,
twin turbo
Gallardo.
Gallardo.
Yeah.
But maybe before it was twin turboed.
Okay.
He ate at the Ocean Air restaurant downtown Minneapolis. I
Okay.
was valet and I had to like pull around the block.
Okay.
I have no idea. He probably doesn't even remember it. Like Jesse and I know each other now and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's like I got to drive that, and that was way before like I was in the car scene.
Yeah, you're
like-
probably, what, 18 or something?
Yeah, like the first year of college, working downtown Minneapolis kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. There's been like other 458s and definitely driven cooler cars for.
Yeah.
Never mind. I was gonna say something I shouldn't say.
Okay. Noted.
What do you think of Resvani?
I think it's. Listen, I don't own it. Everybody that I've seen talk about it, that's owned it, says it's the biggest hunk of shit ever. That I've seen on social media. Does that kind of cover it?
I can neither confirm or deny, but I was a little disappointed that the Beast is just a C8.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard really good things from people that have.
It was a cool car because we got to drive it in the desert after
Okay.
whatever the SEMA was for this 3M project.
Okay.
It was twin turboed. I mean, it's a C8, but they put two turbos on it and a different body kit.
Oh yeah, because then they make it's like a sports car.
Yeah.
Resvani.
And to be able
that
to
thing
like,
kind of looks cool.
Yeah, and to like feel what the C8 chassis felt like with turbos, that was really cool.
Yeah. Okay.
They're the ones that make the big trucks, though, too,
Yep.
right? Isn't
Yeah,
it like
yeah.
the
That's what I'm
six
thinking about,
wheel?
yeah.
I think the
Okay.
trucks are cooler than the cars because they're
Really?
still based on.
Well, the trucks, I think, is
like-
what we've heard not great things about.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
they
the-
look cooler. They look
one
more
axle
like,
is fake.
Looks wise, they win.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's from what I've seen. But I
but,
just
okay.
well, again, this is kind of like this is all secondhand information too for me too. So it's like I don't know until I have one. But for example, when you see those 6x6 like Jeeps, right?
Yeah.
They're always just like a overweight, just a piece of junk. You know, so it's kind. I don't know if it falls into that same category. So I'm open to being proven wrong. I just haven't.
Well, 9 times out of 10, the other axle is just there. It rolls. It doesn't actually have
Really?
to drive. Yeah,
That's hilarious.
You're just dragging around extra weight for no reason at all.
That's
yeah,
funny.
like I can't remember. Was it Shaq
I
or
mean-
some old NBA players that's going around locally? Yeah, it's like I want to say it's like 12,000 pounds or something.
No, they weigh a lot.
Yeah, and it's like running just the old little V6 that came in it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Pentastar.
The owner of Resvani, super cool guy.
Okay.
I like his mission and his vision
Okay.
a lot. The trucks are definitely built for like the kind of people that want this apocalyptic
Okay.
vibe or like private security stuff. Like,
Okay.
because on the inside of whatever their Vengeance or whatever the big truck is,
Okay.
it's a Cadillac Escalade.
Interesting. Okay.
And then, but they do cool things like, he said there's like smoke bombs and lights and sirens and like more stuff military cars would have.
Yeah.
It's like cool idea, but
No, and like I said, like everything that I've heard is just what I've heard.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I don't know. Were you around a lot of that stuff then? Like, what are your thoughts?
well, I would say cool concept, a little underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed?
Yeah, that would be my what I should say on a podcast.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Because I just stopped myself earlier.
Yeah.
They were cool because that's the whole 3M project that we did for those two vehicles was for their PWF film, which is protection wrap film.
Yeah,
Which
yep.
is colored PPF, right?
Yeah, yep.
Without giving you the slogan, the difference is like if you peel a carrot, you have color all the way through. If you peel an apple, like you go right to a different color.
Yeah.
So 3M's version of colored PWF is like a carrot. So we put them on these two Resvanis, and then
Okay.
like you go barrel around the desert.
Yeah. So that's
No matter
cool
how like
footage.
what you shouldn't do with the car, you're still
Yeah.
protected. You change the color,
Yep.
blah 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 blah. So got to spend
almost
time
like
with those two
PPF's a
cars.
great product.
Yeah, almost.
Dude, I'm all PPF. Like I know there's like people going around talking about this. Like I'm sure you've seen like this Iconiclear stuff going around. It's kind of supposed to be better than ceramic, but it's just like if you install it incorrectly, the car's pretty much the paint's permanently fucked. Because there's
Dang.
no like. So one of the guys we had on the show like 40 episodes ago, they're like, yeah, if you try to go like ceramic, if you do a pour installation, you can just buff it off, right?
Yep.
And you can visibly see when it stops being ceramic and it starts being clear coat. This other stuff you can't tell.
So you just burn through.
So you just literally you have to repaint the car if it's installed poorly.
That's bad.
From what I've heard.
Yeah.
Again, that does not. Yeah, I've just not heard good things.
Dang.
I know. I really like it on my town car.
Iconiclear?
Yeah.
Iconically?
I don't know. One of these is I'm gonna catch a lawsuit, I swear. But anyways,
okay.
What's it called? So what are you most proud of in your journey? That's a question I've started asking on this podcast quite a bit lately, and the answers are always awesome.
I would say I think that I'm really proud of how Golden Peaks has stuck kind of in our niche of automotive content creation. Mm-hmm. I think the people that we've met along the journey, like nothing short of like awesome, cool people, great stories, experiences that maybe otherwise wouldn't have had unless maybe we were in the same wealth position, like doing these things. Mm-hmm. I would say some of the projects that we've completed because of like the niche that we're in, I'm proud of. Mm-hmm. I've had 3M as a client since 2016. So like that's something I'm proud of.
That's almost a decade, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Damn, you old.
I know. Banging gears in a weird way I'm proud of. And eventually there'll be like an actual tell-all.
Yeah.
But
any updates you can tell us today?
The concept of what the show was to be versus what happened and then what has come from it, I think is pretty close.
Okay.
And that's exciting.
Okay.
Because to be a part of something that was meant to never succeed, but the way that we were able to bring from across the country some of the biggest names in the automotive world to one place for 18 days is just wild.
Yeah.
You know? And so...
Are we going to be able to get to see this eventually? Or
Yes. There's things being worked on in the back room, and it's the biggest reason why it's still not anywhere. Just because there's infringements and other things. People are trying to claim ownership of certain things.
Okay.
That it is not sellable because of that. Right?
Okay.
Until things are cleaned up and things are buttoned
there's
up.
nobody that it's not sold to air to any network or of any kind yet?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I have a copy of all the RAWs, and so does the studio that I signed over to, because I had ownership of what it would have been, but I couldn't afford the liability of what could have happened. And so I stepped away, and I'm still a part of the team. I haven't actually touched that project since Thanksgiving of 2023.
Okay.
And so the studio in LA has it. It's being polished. I've seen it. It looks great. I think for what we were able to shoot in 18 days, like, wow. On the budget that we had, like...
Better or worse than Netflix's Fastest Car show?
Better than Fastest Car.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe shot differently. I think Fastest Car had a ton of time to get certain shots that maybe raise production value in certain ways.
Okay.
But I think for what viewers want to see based on the kind of person that was on the show,
yes,
Banging Gears will jive a lot better with the viewer group.
Okay.
You're not doing the 30 minutes of a different shot of a car running a quarter mile? Like, okay, how many cuts can we get of this?
The quarter mile should only take like 12 seconds, guys.
Yeah.
Why are we watching this for 30 minutes?
This has been a very dramatic quarter mile.
Yeah. So, in a weird way, I'm proud of that project.
Is there any timeline on that or not really?
Probably not that I can say.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be 2025.
Okay.
Which quarter, I guess, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of other things that are being lined up. There's something similar to Community that is being built that I'm a part of at a certain level that has a lot of interest in the show.
Okay.
But we know how Community went.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll see how that all plays out.
People trying to create social media these days is just like, don't try. But these people could do it. If they do it, I think it'll be awesome. What they've described and shown me, and I've seen betas and business plans, like it makes a lot of sense.
Interesting, okay.
It'll just be, will the consumer group convert and buy into it?
Okay.
If they do, I think it'll be great. If they don't, I won't be surprised. But if anything, Bangers will make a splash at least, and then maybe go to a different streamer.
Okay.
But
interesting. I'm curious to see how that shakes out.
Yes.
So you said you do it mostly. I mean, you've been able to stay in the automotive space. If somebody calls you, like, hey, we shoot a diaper commercial. I mean, are you? I mean,
the answer is yes. Like, I'll do it.
Okay.
I have found something interesting about me that I really do my best work when I am like passionate about what we're creating content for.
Okay.
Which ironically has been cars, and I know that sounds shallow, but like I really, really love it. We've done some really cool work with 3M. Again, their safety and security window films.
Yeah,
because
I saw your sponge commercial with them.
Yeah, the sponge commercial.
Yeah.
Safety and security window films. There's this mandate coming across the U.S. right now where schools and public offices or buildings owned by the government are required to have some level of security film installed or windows and doors revamped, right?
Interesting.
For intruders, stuff like that. And so my wife's a teacher. And so the whole safety and security out of school, is pretty passionate about that. So that was fun. It's a lot of science talk, kind of nitty gritty explanational stuff. So when schools are figuring out which supplier to go with and then which product to choose, like we're creating all this content that's educating on what kind of film goes on a door like this to stop someone in from creating the worst day of someone's life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that was cool.
I've seen them try and kick through that stuff when that's on there. It's no joke.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
So this new film that they've got, if we really want to nerd out, it's called, it's their S2400 series.
Okay.
And the term is elongation and Graves tear.
Okay.
So like most films are created out of a PET-based plastic, which is like a pop bottle, right? It'll stretch, and it'll just snap.
Yep.
This will just keep stretching like a rubber band.
Okay.
And so the time bought, if that film is on there, is something crazy, like tens of minutes for someone to actually get through a door like that one over there.
Yeah, you end up in this like bubblegum bubble of like
and it's
broken glass and goo. That
it's crazy.
Really?
And so,
dude, I've seen like they give them like a sledgehammer or like get through this door.
And they hit it they have to hit it 30 times to get it to tear, but then even when it's torn, you can't keep tearing it. So it's like this.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You think it's
someone a lot smarter than me thought of that, but it's genius.
Is that something you'd eventually maybe see on car glass?
I think it'd be cool. It's really thick.
There's no escape factor, so no.
Yeah, true.
It's really thick, and it needs to be held into like these commercial doors. You know, they've got the caulk around the frame. It's got a whole bunch of that, so I think it needs a lot of
Like my
support.
window right now in my truck is all shattered, but it's held together because of my window tint, and I was able to drive it home like that. But if I wanted to get out, I could just go.
Yeah, you can just push it through. Yeah. That's funny.
Who are you most thankful for, like when it comes to working with someone in this industry?
From a supportive way or a client way?
Who's done the most for you?
Ooh.
Who made you you?
Jeff Storms takes an early role in Golden Peaks.
Okay.
He brought in me when I got like my first BMW and had a camera. We made some terrible videos, but that's because I didn't know what I was doing. But then I got introduced to like M&E&S, made some cool content. Got introduced to Crown Rally, and they turned into a client since 2016.
Still?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we'll see. We did last year through the transition of Asa purchasing it. I really like Asa as a person. Obviously, we work together in a couple of different fashions. But I do know that I can be a little more expensive than maybe what he's done in the past, because we worked together on squad and stuff too.
You were half my debt for my rally, just letting you know.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I paid it off in September.
Yeah, where's all that footage?
It's still sitting in a fucking hard drive.
Yeah.
You have it, though,
you're the only person that got a video. What are you
I know,
bitching
because
about?
I bitched and complained. I'm like, I saw Golden Peaks there. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude.
Where's the video?
Hell yeah. The best of the best.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
Hello?
There's a 1 minute video out there that I paid $8,000 for. It's okay. I think that's what it was.
Something I'm trying to work on myself this year, which is I think is what put me in predicaments with clients in the past, is I'm a yes man. Okay. I like to just, you want to do something cool, let's do something cool, right?
Yeah.
But then what's hard to manage is the time and the back end to all what maybe was done.
I definitely had to negotiate with you to get you guys on.
Yeah, and so like I kind of started here and there, and like this year I'm really kind of like, let's take on what I am very confident I can take on.
Okay.
And maybe first and foremost what I'm like really passionate to chase.
Yeah.
and then kind of fill the gaps on a need-to basis, because obviously there's a certain amount of money that I have to make to like survive.
Yeah.
So sometimes,
too, right?
sometimes it is like I'll call the diaper manufacturers and be like, do you need commercials?
You have not picked. So like I mostly in my business is mostly installation stuff. Like even when I do like the product goes on the customer, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You've picked two careers that have some kind of crazy overhead. To be honest with you, between your equipment and cars here, and even on the production side, like there's not a little bit of money sitting over there.
Yeah.
So
and it's interesting you say that, because Golden Peaks, it was pretty low overhead. It was just me, and then I was like, I'm running out of time. I could hire someone. I ran contractor basis for a long time, so I just had to pay people on a need-to basis that then I obviously got paid for by the client to have on the team. But I saw the gaps in like, how companies work when they have employees, right? If employee costs me 100, but I charge 200, boom, company makes money. And so that was kind of the approach I went. And then I found myself in there's overhead now, kind of thing. Because it's not just like me anymore. When it's like Jacob has a bad month, Jacob doesn't need to be paid, like next month we do great, I'll just pay myself twice. You can't do that with employees. And there's been some hard times that like we kind of have to have those conversations in my team that for some reason still sticks with me. I'm extremely grateful for that. But then yes, take out a little bit of a loan to get a car that's maybe quick enough to do the rally stuff. And I want some bigger cameras hanging off. And so there's a lot of overhead. The way Golden Peaks has grown, aside from the motor crane, I've tried to buy equipment based on like budgets. So like if I get a certain kind of project and maybe there's some more to come, maybe I'll use the budget from this project and kind of buy that piece of gear that I want to keep the overhead low, but the purchase is still there.
Yeah.
And then with Drivify, it's the complete opposite. I think all of our cars have a lease or at least a car note. That's a lot of overhead.
For what?
Drivify. Drivify stresses me out sometimes.
Yeah, well, you kind of touched on that too. It's
even
like,
this building, like these rent a warehouse is not cheap.
It's not cheap, no. And like we're getting a deal right now. And like when our gentleman's agreement ends and we enter into the formal lease for like a 3-year agreement, we'll be charged market rates. And like, instead of a building, I could go get a Lambo payment, right? Yeah. But like a Lambo payment's not going to be a place, or a Lambo. I can't put the 25 other cars
in a
Lambo, right? Like you kind of need these stepping stones of like overhead expenses, I guess, to keep the growth.
Well, we've talked about this before too. You've had some oopsies too on the production side of things too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And maybe questionable car purchases. I love this car very much. Yeah. But it has had one motor so far.
So far.
That's not bad.
I thought I was going to need the second motor because we found a bunch of oil in the filter.
Okay.
Like 5,000 miles ago.
Okay.
Took the bottom end apart. AJ's shop took the bottom end apart. Can't find where the metal came from. So we put it back together and it seems fine.
Weird.
Mystery metal.
Yeah. Like we got great compression. There's no scoring. Took the rod bearings out because, maybe one of those failed. Put new ones in since we took them out. Like there's a bunch of money. And then scoped around wherever we couldn't take apart without getting ridiculous. And be like, there's nothing missing and there's no more metal. So
what's the motor that's in? Is this the N?
This is the S65.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's the
Okay.
The 4-liter V8 that revs to.
What year is it? Like an 11 or something?
This is a 9. They ran from 8 to 12.
That's right.
Or 8 to 13. But
Did you hear me try and do it though? I just yelled out a letter and I was
hey,
like,
you did great. You were going the right way.
Yeah. Like and I was thinking N55, but I know that's a thing, but I don't know which cars.
It came in a lot of cars.
Okay.
Just not this one.
All right.
It's an M car. So if you need to know anything about BMW, the M cars are an S motor code.
Okay.
So the S65, the S54, and the E46.
The coveted S58.
Yes, that's the one from the E30. No, that's the V10, right?
No, that's the
That's S85.
Yeah.
I'm a BMW guy, I swear. I should know this.
It's been a while since we had a BMW guy on the show.
Yeah.
BMWs are life and they're better than any other manufacturer.
Is that why you found oil in your filter?
Yes. Oil's supposed to be in the filter, man.
Yeah.
They sell engines in 6-packs.
Just find a little bit of metal.
Yeah.
Yes. And you can't just like buy this crate motor anymore. So it just makes it a little more difficult.
That's why you gotta swap it.
I do.
No, that's rubbish.
I do like BMWs and I specifically like M3s.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm an M3 guy. I would love to find in the US people make the M3 station wagons, but
we miss out on a lot.
It'd be sweet to have.
Yeah. So, all right, tell us the story about how you destroyed your camera.
Oh yeah. That was a little while ago. It was on one of the first iterations of the camera car. Okay. So it was called this Rig Wheels Cloud Mount Isolator. It was basically like these bungee cords.
Oh yeah.
And then like tethered wire. And so the weight of the camera and then the elastic of the bungee cord, you kind of like land somewhere in the middle, and then it would bounce as you drove, which would stabilize the gimbal hanging from there. I hit a bump and it went, and I drove over it.
Yeah.
It was hanging off the front of the car, so it went under the 1 Series. That was a Ronin 2 gimbal and a Sony FS5.
Yep.
I think about $9,000 or $10,000.
Yeah, not cheap.
No insurance because I was silly back then.
Well, that was before you.
Well, when the companies are getting started, that's something people don't realize. You're getting started up. Like, there's no money for insurance.
It's like $800 a year for insurance. I can't afford that.
Right.
I really can't afford $8,000 of damage either.
Yeah.
But I think that was that, and then this blew up on Crown Rally. We dropped a valve spring, just broke, fell into the cylinder, got punched back up, and the valve was stuck in the head and crushed the camshaft globe.
Jeez.
And so I had the motor taken out at Eurotech.
I love how each one of those things is more money, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Had the motor taken out at Eurotech. They're like, let's just drop one in from a salvage car. That motor showed up, rod bearing failure. Took the bearing caps off. They were black, like whoever had this car ran it. No bearing material left, metal everywhere. So we ended up keeping the bottom of my original motor, and then we took the tops off that blown motor and put it together.
Nice.
And that's
Was that before the mystery metal?
Yep.
I wonder if there was like a cavity in there.
So that's
somewhere.
what we're thinking. That's what I tell myself to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Like a mystery metal cavity somewhere during that Frankenstein that somehow got dislodged 60,000 miles later and not sooner.
How many miles are on this thing now?
175.
Jeez.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All those were rally
It blew
miles
up
too.
at 115. Yeah, dude. The memories in this car, I hope to keep this car forever. It's just been across the country with us now.
This thing has
Couple
done
times.
everything.
Yeah.
What's the coolest rally you've done?
Define cool.
You define it.
I would say the most, I don't really get nervous or stressed,
Okay.
but those two feelings are the highest on the Savage Rally.
Okay.
It is the fastest,
Is that still around?
most distance covered illegally that I think I've ever done. That it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Where's that one based out of?
So Jason Kanakry, who races a bunch of grid life stuff with a 720, and he's got an M3 too, always ran it for Randy from Savage Garage.
Understood.
They just branded it Savage Rally. So Randy pushed it on his YouTube video, got people to sign up. He ran the event.
So the event is still going?
I think so.
Okay.
But it's been pretty small lately.
Yeah. Okay.
Because after Randy died,
Yeah.
all those groups of friends just kind of went because
Right.
everyone, they all kind of just mooched off him, kind of
Interesting.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But he didn't have much to mooch off of, which is why he's not around anymore.
Yeah, it was a very interesting story what happened there.
Yes.
Okay. Well, shoot. I think.
Yeah.
Any other updates for us before we pop the usual 3?
Pop the usual 3.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
You've been
other
busy,
updates.
man, with the kid. I'm sure that
Dude,
took a lot of time.
I love it. It's been great. It's like, me and my wife are high school sweethearts.
Okay.
So we started dating when we were.
You're telling me I've been single since high school.
Started dating in 11th grade or something like that. 10th grade.
Okay.
Got married, and she's been my absolute largest supporter through everything and all my crazy ideas, and definitely grounds me because I've had some even crazier ideas.
Yeah.
For like, babe, great business idea. And she's like, nope, okay.
You got anything cooking right now? Other than
what's next for you?
growth here? Yeah.
I joke about that all the time because it drives Ben and Grant nuts who work with me. Like, hey, let's start something new. Because that's why, I'm so down to start something. And once it's started and kind of moving, I'm ready to start the next thing.
Yeah.
So I'm challenging myself to let's focus on these two. Because I think these two will just be nice and solid. There's a little bit of risk with Drivify that I don't like. That eventually I'd like to try to find myself a little more removed. You look at Crown Rally and the liability with that stuff.
Yeah, true.
That will happen one day with it just will.
Yeah.
Whether. And so,
It's just a matter of how you handle it.
So it's been we spent a lot of money just preparing for that kind of stuff. So we're not caught with our pants down when something really bad happens.
But as in legal stuff?
As soon as anybody dies in something, everyone goes to court and everyone spends money to fix that.
Yeah.
And it will be extremely important that everything that we did prior to that person getting in the car, whether it was their fault or not when they passed, is like checked to a T.
Yep.
Like maintenance and photos and documents and
Yeah.
And so
It's the risk you take for that game.
It is. And like the joke has always been, because I've Randy Savage Garage did Go Exotics for a while. He said, dude, like the rental company's great until it's not.
Yeah. Yep.
I think they can be applied to anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cooking, anything else? We want to do a Drivify car show. It's not really anything new, but like Drivify has kind of, I feel like it's kind of been this, oh, cool idea. And like, we're not really involved with the community. Those from the community who have reached out, like we've got great relationships and like, that's awesome, but we don't really sponsor anything. We don't really take the cars anywhere.
Show, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've sponsored Cars and Coffee the last 2 years, but like just their internet only, just their internet only sponsorship. So like we can post on their Facebook group.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, outside of that.
You gonna do it here?
I think so.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. Like once we have the whole space, we want to do like an open house, and then whether it be a ride along or like to your point a little while ago, is like I just wanted to try all these cars. Like come to this car show, get in line, and
there's some kick-ass roads down here too.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why we moved out here too.
Yeah, let me know when you do that. Maybe we might organize some kind of a cruise to here too to do it. Because this is one of our favorite routes. Like we do it often. You know, the whole into Prescott and up and down that.
The Alphabet Roads is a couple O and double O and something else, and
that one that dumps you out right by the park and ride by the water there, and then there's all that up through there.
Yeah. So we want to do. For the car show specifically, like I will do it. I just haven't really announced anything. But it'd be cool to do some sort of go to a car show and drive the cars. Like usually you go to the car show and you like can't touch the car, see the car.
test drives they used to do at like
like if you come out here, you merge on the highway, do U-turn, floor it, come back, like just line up and come to the Drivify car show and drive the R8 and the GT3 and the GTR and like.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I would attend something like that, even though it's.
I tell you what, I'll show up like 2 hours early and I'll help you test that theory and we'll try it out.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
That's exciting.
I know I've been challenged myself to not try to start something new. I would like to get into property. No idea what that looks like, and I ain't got no money for it.
You buy one.
Right.
That's how it works.
I've got a house, I guess, that we live in, but like the legally rent or Drivify is Rent-A-Man LLC, because we'd like to be able to kind of build this. Cars are great, but like maybe Airbnbs, maybe.
Well, I see what you're saying.
Stuff like that, all under the same company that we can all pull together.
You'd still probably want to separate them though.
A little bit. Eventually, we're gonna want.
Well, you can have, so like when I did mine, I started my business as an S Corp, and then I can file LLCs underneath it.
Yeah. So Golden Peaks is an S Corp, but I keep Golden Peaks and Drivify very separate.
Yeah. The more separate, the better, from what I hear.
Yeah.
I feel like the lawyer.
What I don't like about the legal structure that we have right now is like my name Jacob is too close to like the ownerships of Drivify.
Gotcha.
Right. So like if Drivify finds itself in a lawsuit, who are they going to go after? The people who own the company.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to start hiding behind trusts and LLCs and all that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But we'll see.
You want to pop the usual 3?
Yeah, absolutely. This would be interesting for a guy who has access to some cool stuff.
Pop the usual 3. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I remember this from last time.
I
wonder what I said last time. I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
Watch it be identical.
Oh, I remember one of them. All right, let's see.
We'll cross-reference it and we'll put it out there.
We won't.
We will. It's too much work.
I remember people always tell me like, oh yeah, you can add this into your main video. I'm like, I won't.
Yeah, flashback to that one time. No.
So at the end of every episode, we like to ask our guest to pick 3 cars. I need a daily driver, a show car, and a track car. You can pick whatever you want. Money is no object. You can weld 2 cars together, whatever you want to do.
No one's done that yet, by the way.
No? Yeah. They should.
Alpina XB7. The big X7 Alpina car.
Yeah.
Daily.
Okay.
Track car, I have to say Dodge Viper ACRE because that's like my jam. Like just a nice stock one, and then after that maybe a big twin turbo one. And then track car, wait, that was my track car. Show car, this. I don't know.
I was waiting. I was like, I hope he picks no BMWs.
I picked 2, and then an American.
I think you're 2 out of 3. I think the show car is different, but I might be wrong. But I remember you picking the Viper.
I do remember the Viper. Yeah. Now this is.
Is that what the Alpina is too? I don't know what that is.
Alpina is like Barabbas for Mercedes.
Okay.
So like you get like
Ford guy. Try again. Barabbas.
It's like Shelby.
Okay.
Maybe.
I think
it's like an
right
aftermarket parts manufacturer that takes an OE car and then does their
maybe like a Steve Saleen would be a closer.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's pretty bang on.
Yeah.
Well, sweet dude. Where can people find you?
I'm not very interesting, but you can follow Golden Peaks and Drive on Instagram. Just type both their names in.
What a great way of putting it.
I really don't care that like I don't have this desire to be like like let's watch Jacob's videos. Like no, leave me alone. Just like watch what the companies are doing. The companies are doing the cool stuff. I'm just a part of it. So
the bigger team effort.
That's right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's right.
Sweet. Dan?
Yeah.
You can find us at Gunner Garage or my personal Facebook. I am also not that interesting, so go for it.
I'm interesting, or I guess
you are interesting. That's why we're here talking with you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on our show.
Yeah,
our guests are interesting. These two are not. So, Jesus Christ, fucking sourpusses. Well, sweet, Jacob. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. This was a fun little follow up. Curious to see what happens in the next year or two.
A lot can happen.
Well, there's a lot that can happen. You are out of your fucking mind. It's for the better. I think it's awesome. I'm excited to see what's next for you, man. You're always doing fun stuff. So I'm curious to see what happens. Dan, thanks for existing. Yeah. And we'll see you all next time.